Welcome to the Truth Podcast. I'm here with none other than the Jared Feather, my training partner extraordinaire yesterday. Right. Yes.
I was coaching you, remember?
Yes, that's right. Yeah. That's right. In social media.
Due to a sound clip.
If you yes. I just did a post on Instagram of him and I training and Motivation Monday post, right? Yeah. And for those of you who might have missed it, one of the first comments was something along the lines of, I
don't have shit to teach you.
Yeah, something to teach me. Right.
I don't want to rip into the guy because clearly he was a fan of both of us. Like he literally started with that, but I was like, guy, we're training together, man. Hany's asking me to
keep put me through.
Together.
Yeah, I literally had to tell you that too.
Yeah.
I think I ripped into you. So it's like I said, man, help me out here, bro.
Exactly.
You know, help me out. Give me some. Get me through these next couple of forced reps.
Yeah, and not even to that. Like, Hany's ego isn't so big that he thinks that he can learn nothing from me.
Absolutely.
That's why we're doing a podcast.
Well, we're doing a podcast, but we're also like, even in the gym, right? I'm going back, and there's a lot of things that I've forgotten to apply to myself.
And
because
science is evolving constantly.
It is, and I'm also constantly picking up cues for myself.
Exactly.
Because me on the outside in working out, it's a different feeling, right?
Yep.
It's a different feeling because I'm going in and I'm working with the top athletes, but I don't train my younger athletes like Olympia athletes because their recovery and their ability to be able to process that kind of weight is very, very different. And then it's also the other way around too. Younger athletes sometimes have to be able to get basic biomechanics, where if you have somebody who's got really good biomechanics, then it's just being able to really kind of target a certain position, a certain amount of load in a certain exercise, where a young athlete is just trying to get the basics of it. So I always attribute this back to the golf swing, right? You want to learn good habits of proper range of motion, right? Full range of motion, but also being able to increase intensity with modifiers that you can be able to increase intensity with. But learning those things early on, Jared, right, is what's key. Because if you learn bad habits, just like a bad golf swing,
100%.
It's really hard to remap and retrain.
And like you said, when you stay out for a long time, you forget cues you give your athletes, and even ones that you held to yourself for so long. Sure. And you're like, fuck. When I was training Hany last year for the Olympia, he had this issue with his row that, had I just remembered that cue that Jared just said, I totally forgot that I used to do that. But that was a cue I used to say all the time, and I forgot it because I started using this other cue for someone else.
Right. And
now I don't use it anymore. And that, damn it, not remembered. And now you use it in the future. So it's like training partners are amazing for that reason.
Yeah.
Aaron will say something to me when I'm doing a movement, and I'm like, oh, shit, I didn't even realize my shoulder rolled forward on that curl or whatever it may be.
Right.
Yeah. And I think,
it's also like when you go to the gym, right? It doesn't matter. If you're listening to this podcast, it doesn't matter how advanced you are. If you go into a gym or you go on a YouTube page and you see an exercise that you have not done for 10 or 15 years, right? I mean, I know I'll give you one right now. One that I'm really aching to do again, and I haven't done it with my clients for, I don't know, it's been a little bit of time, or myself for a long period of time, are using cables for rear, right? Using cables for rear delts, right? So if you're doing, rear cable extensions,
even like a lat pull down rope.
You can do the rope, or you can turn around and let's just say the cable crossover, right? Or, doing the narrow cable crossover Panada machine where I'm just grabbing the rope with no D handles, nothing. And you're just doing that type of thing versus constantly going over and doing bend over lateral raises or doing a reverse fly is one thing, but just hitting some different angles or doing bent over and you're doing them at the same time in the cable 100%. Crossover machine, doing bent over lateral raises, but you're doing both hands at the same time. And again, getting a really good contraction at the very end. You tend to kind of forget things sometimes, and you see somebody utilizing something at the gym or wherever, and you go, oh shit, I haven't done that in a long time.
100%.
Because you kind of get in the same kind of groove.
100%.
And so being able to go
programming
back,
too. As a coach programming certain aspects of somebody's program, I'll put some movements in. I'm like, why did I put that pull day 2 days prior to their leg day? And I was like, oh yeah, because there's some overlap and soreness of the spinal erector. So I did a vertical pull this day because of this. And sometimes you just forget that stuff and you program it so repetitively. You're like, you look back at programs like, why did I do that again? You got to constantly check yourself over and over and make sure that you're on top of your shit. It's the same with technique, same with what you're saying. So, I think back to the comment, it really segues nice into the podcast and what we're going to talk about today, because we kind of have a structure and a flow of this. If you want to give a brief what we're going to chat about, and then I think...
We'll chat about whatever you want.
I'm just going to I've got free reign to kind of go off today, guys.
Yeah.
And I don't get insanely.
The only thing we got to do, Jared, is we have to go over the Q&A because we did post up.
Mid.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, so we can do that at some point whenever you want to do it. But I have those questions that came over on Instagram because
I'll probably answer a lot of them in my rants, especially if Aaron left.
Aaron, dude, Aaron, we're gonna have to charge Aaron a consulting fee, right? So Aaron,
He's just asking questions for us to answer because he wants to know.
Aaron is our athlete, right? And
he's my training partner.
Yeah, he's your training partner, and he's one of our Evogen athletes. And it's funny because when we put the Q&A up and I go, okay, sometimes somebody will ask 1 question, 2 questions, maybe 3. He's asked 14. 14 questions. And they're all like...
he knows what gets me ranting.
Yeah.
He knows.
It was awesome. So we'll definitely have to pull at least 1 or 2 from his...
Yeah, and I think that's perfect. And if you don't mind, just back to the comment, I think it's a great kind of segue into what I think the entire kind of format of this podcast is going to be anyway. And that's... This is a social media platform.
Yep.
Instagram, TikTok, you name it.
Yep.
And there's just a plethora of insanely misguided misinformation out there. Mm-hmm. And I think that comes from the fact that platforms like TikTok have changed the name of the game when it comes to popularity, when it comes to growing up in a day and age where you have access to information but you have low attention span because you're still a child. And if you're not polarizing, you don't have these dichotomies, you don't place people in camps, and even if they're not in camps themselves, you don't make what is catchy. You don't make what is going to bring you views, and because your only concern is blowing up on social media because you're a 17, 18, 19-year-old kid, you lean into that shit hard, and you get these catchy things and things. I'm going to give a list of a few, and I'm going to honestly probably just explain why they're wrong because people need to hear the actual science, and this is the Truth Podcast.
Yep. Yeah. And I think this is built up, bro. I can tell.
You have no idea.
You said you got some stuff to talk about.
So I'm a guy who, toot my own horn, whatever. Have master's degrees. I have the access to this information. I'm on papers with Brad Schoenfeld, who's the lead hypertrophy expert in this industry. I review his data and literature. I do RP with Dr. Mike Israetel. We know what we're talking about, but that's not my job. I'm not here to say I'm the fucking man.
Right.
I'm here to teach people. So I dumb shit down. I make it layman instead of saying dumb because people aren't dumb. They just don't understand at the level that I do.
Right.
I make it so layman that people understand, and that's why it's catching on, and that's why we have 4 million subs. But then you have TikTok kid who's saying terminology so incorrectly that I spent 10 years of school on.
Gotcha.
And they're misusing the terminology to fear-monger people into doing something that doesn't make sense, okay? So I can list a couple. I'll talk about edema maxing. You've probably seen that. And then I'll talk about, let's say EMG. So I'll talk about edema first. This is just for an example so that people understand.
Okay.
People on TikTok and a bunch of these kids who see high volume, especially in bodybuilders who are taking anabolics, they say, well, all those studies of high volume are just edema maxing. First and foremost, edema is a medical term where fluid builds up in the interstitial space, okay? It's not edema. They're talking about cellular swelling, which as a scientist, we don't use the word edema for that, okay? We use muscle soreness and muscle damage leading to an inflammation response. That's not edema. Edema is in the interstitial space.
Right.
So you read that, and because it's catchy, and some kid goes within 2 seconds of a rant on TikTok, those studies are just edema maxing the wrong. Here's the mechanistic data, and mechanistic data can only create hypotheses, which I'll also talk about. You start seeing people really lean away from doing any sort of meaningful volume, especially as like an intermediate to advanced lifter. You got to do more. And what they mean to say, and this is only a valid critique on studies that are like 1 or 2 weeks long, which in research, we have a very, very intensive process to make sure we rule out. Like, you don't think we thought about muscle soreness and damage and making sure we can read data properly and get the actual sarco. Like, they think it's sarcoplasmic hypertrophy, which is building up damage and stuff inside the tissue.
Yeah.
Like, we have to make sure that we're seeing myofibril hypertrophy in these studies. And we have a very intensive process to go about that. Most of these studies are 8 to 12 weeks, and they're what are called longitudinal studies. So you're seeing a lot of people come at scientists with mechanistic data, like mechanical tension is mechanistic. It's done in vitro or in a lab somewhere, and it's done in a rodent model. And they try to apply mechanistic data specifically to what we do. And all the longitudinal data suggests that most of the things they're saying about mechanistic data is incorrect. Mechanistic data leads to hypotheses.
Okay.
And then we can apply that to longitudinal studies of 8 to 12 weeks or longer.
Sure. I want to,
please
I don't want
interrupt.
to cut you off, but look, I think a lot of the listeners are basically getting, I want to kind of agree a little bit more layman's terms of what you're talking about.
Please.
Again, you were so ramped up before we started on this podcast because you want to go deep into this.
Yeah.
But I do think that
that's why you're here.
Well, exactly, because I want to be able to create the platform to be able to share with the audience, no matter if you're a coach, because again, we have a lot of coaches that listen, but we also have just, regular PTs, all the way down to just the avid gym enthusiast, right? But I do think that a lot of people are taking the information that you're mentioning and they're kind of loading it up and not realizing kind of the damage they're doing to the audience. 100%. And what they're doing is they're trying to create their narrative, whatever that may be, with a little bit of information because people have to use paraphrasing. And that paraphrasing is a TikTok post that's been done in just a couple of minutes max. And that they're trying to share this information, right? So all the science guys are saying that, they're like, okay, this is science and there's no other way. And there's
that's another rant.
Yeah, that's something else that we can talk about. But I do think that I just want to create a little bit of simplicity for the listener so that you can be able to explain kind of, because again, I know your brain's going a million miles an hour because you have so many things you want to discuss.
Yeah.
But is this specific subject more about the lack of just formatting of the information that they're sharing?
I wish.
Okay.
I wish. It is unfortunately about parroting.
Okay.
And these kids don't actually understand the mechanisms, which is why I said, I'm going to dive in.
Okay.
I'm going to dive in and inform them because they need to hear it. Those kids need to hear what they're saying wrong. The coaches need to understand counter arguments to their positions because a kid's going to come on there and he's going to regurgitate. And kids are so good at regurgitating shit.
Information, right.
They're so good.
They're parroting.
We're 30 and 40.
Yeah.
We don't have that. Our brains don't work that way anymore.
Right. 50
right?
for me, but
yeah, right. Well, the coaches out there, right?
Yeah.
And
but you're right.
Because,
It's the parroting, right?
So, exactly, and they're good at it, man. I mean, I memorized the preamble when I was 12 in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I had to.
Yeah, and that parroting is dangerous,
Very.
Right? And I think, what do you think is the number one problem with parroting when it comes to that exact point of the TikTok rant that someone's giving out? What do you think?
Dunning-Kruger. Peak amount stupid. It leads to being so insanely objective, or so insanely absolute in your statements that other people who like that type of content, rage baiting bullshit, latch onto it and they do the same thing, and that catches on like wildfire. And everybody's trying to grow their social media.
Right.
So you got a bunch of kids rage baiting and parroting the same shit, but they're confident. That's the issue. They're confident because they actually think that's the truth. But it's not.
You're right. That's the truth. That's right.
And that's why I say, so back to the
rage baiting thing, honestly, because I've seen
edema maxing is a rage bait thing.
Right.
But they believe it. So I'm trying to explain, researchers go about longitudinal studies, which just mean long form studies on human beings, which is how we actually get the hypertrophy research. The research says this because of this. So when you said science-based, they're not. They're not at all.
Well, no, but they categorize themselves.
They do.
Right.
And the issue is that evidence-based practicing is something you've done for your whole fucking career.
Right.
And it should make you somewhat upset, but we have to provide information in a non-upset manner, and that doesn't get the views.
Right.
So you see all this other shit. So
right.
You're evidence-based because you're anecdotal.
Yep.
You have looked at the science, you have degrees, and you can say, well, the science is saying this, anecdotally I'm experiencing this. Well, the literature, not even the science, because science is all of it.
Right.
The literature is saying this, my anecdotes say this. Where's that happy medium? I'm going to apply this in the gym and see how it works. And then boom, 20, how many Olympias do you have?
25.
25 Olympias. Okay. So Hany is an evidence-based practitioner. Right. Literally. You are what is science-based. The kids saying science-based are basing that on the fact that they think all longitudinal data, all studies on humans that are showing hypertrophy are based on edema. And that's why I brought that one up specifically. Yeah. And mechanistic data is the only thing that tells us what's going on, which is insanely inaccurate because a mechanism only...
By the way, I have not seen this. So I haven't seen it because, again...
TikTok.
Yeah, so I haven't seen it. So, yeah, because I'm trying
you're too busy making results, Hany.
Right, I have not seen it. So just to get clarification, they're saying that the edema is what leads to the
study reporting growth.
Gotcha.
And it's a valid critique for a 1 or 2 week study. But as you know, what happens when you do a movement from repeated bouts? The repeated bout effect decreases damage.
Yeah.
So by 8 to 12 weeks, not only have we had the repeated bout effect, we also take muscle biopsies, which show myofibril hypertrophy. So most of these studies have 2 methods at which they are, or a lot of studies do,
right? 2
methods at which they are measuring the result.
Okay.
MRI scan or ultrasound. So these are tools that we actually use because I don't even think they know this shit. I really don't. It's crazy to me. And muscle biopsies. You stick a needle in there, you pull some shit out, and you've seen that.
Yeah,
like biology degrees.
Yeah.
And you can't. That's not edema. That's not what that is when they're measuring that.
Right.
And even those studies show a higher volume being better for muscle growth. But because there's a mechanism that they see, like let's say mechanical tension, which they also fluff up, and I could totally get into that on the podcast too. I'm sure it's in the questions. Because they see that, they're like, well, it's just edema, and the only thing that matters is mechanical tension. And then they misconstrue what mechanical tension is by replacing it with the word weight on the bar, because that's all they know, which is not mechanical tension. There's passive and active forces going on there. And they'll rule out longitudinal data completely and only use mechanisms, and that's not how it works. Mechanisms lead to hypotheses that lead to longitudinal studies we can then perform on people and use the appropriate tools and go through the appropriate peer-reviewed process. This is reviewed by our peers, people who have more education than me. And if they see one thing wrong with the study, they're like, what about that? That's not how you do that. And that's reviewed by many people. And you have 17-year-old kids saying that these studies are completely wrong because they learned that muscle damage exists and sarcoplasmic hypertrophy might exist. We measure myofibril hypertrophy with muscle biopsy and MRI scans and all this other stuff.
Right.
You can't say that this whole thing is wrong because you know how a potential mechanism works done in a rat model.
That blows my mind. So you guys,
I know.
That's why, again, man. I mean, when we get caught up, I'm just fascinated because people that are trying to be science-based take one little.
They're the opposite.
Yeah. Well,
that's the issue.
Yeah. They're what's happening is they're allowing the audience to be able to, I mean, it's not even that. It's really just misinformation at that point, because what you're doing is you're just trying to justify your cause and effect by finding one thing and saying, okay, this is all wrong, right? And this is one of the reasons why it's very fascinating to me what kind of era we're in the bodybuilding,
Bodybuilding's doing great, man.
Yeah. Well, bodybuilding's doing great. But I'm saying is that
the bodybuilders are more science-based than those guys now.
Well, but I think the pendulum always swings far the other way, because in the very beginning stages of this during social media, it was, just basically looking at like the Mike Menzer, right? And going, okay, it's absolutes. And you're like, dude, there is no absolutes, 100%. Right? That's the one thing about it, is there are no absolutes. When you go, there's more than one way to skin a cat. And you have to turn around and figure out what works best for you. Like what we talked about, dude, how's your frame? Can your frame handle doing a powerlifting, power building, bodybuilding base, or like a Branch Warren and a Ronnie Coleman and Johnny Jackson? Yeah. Or are you going to have to be more of a Phil Heath, who again didn't have the joints for it, tiny little wrists, super round muscle bellies?
You know what I've found about that? Because you use the analogy skin a cat. Do you know what the cat is?
The cat.
It's enjoyment. That's the cat. Because there's better ways to skin the cat, but you're not going to skin the cat if you can't be consistent.
That's true.
And if people could just figure out the volume to relative effort, which we call RAR, reps in reserve, to loading on the bar, if they could just figure out that relationship and find what they enjoy, you're going to make progress, man.
Yeah.
Like Ronnie Coleman enjoyed pulling triples, and then he would go do a whole fucking back workout, and it was probably the volume that actually made the muscle grow.
Yep.
But he liked the triples. And did that reduce the amount of volume he could do? Fucking hell it did.
Yeah.
But he loved it, and it was for the love of the game. And he's the biggest bodybuilder that's ever existed, likely, with the most condition, the most muscle and most condition on stage ever, likely. And if you could just break it down as a coach and know what your client enjoys, you then have the tools in your mind as a coach to program around it. Like my client loves heavy fucking weight.
Yeah.
So I know that he loves heavy weight and he loves going to failure. If I give him 10 sets per body part per session, he's going to die. Unless, here's another variable, I do all isolation movements. Now you can do more volume. So as a coach, you got to know how to program around the fulfillment and enjoyment of the client. If you have high effort and you're closer to failure and you have high loads, less volume most likely, and you got to pick smarter variations or your client's blowing some shit off. If you have high volume in a moderate effort, like you're getting like 2 in the tank or something, high loads with a moderate effort, you do leave some reps in the tank and stuff, you're still going to be able to do moderate volumes likely, and maybe a few more heavy compounds because you do leave reps in the tank. You leave them there, and that's probably a little better than just going all out all the time like we've talked about. Yeah. But it doesn't matter if the client doesn't like it. So who cares? Yeah. And then if you have pretty decent relative effort, 2 in the tank most of the time, and you have decent loads, so what we talk about in research, that 5 to 30 rep range all causes hypertrophy very similar. Well, then you can leach into that 7 to 15 rep range and include some sets of 30 periodically, and you can do what I would say is the best case scenario to grow muscle, and that's moderate to higher volume with a decent relative effort with a decent amount of load that's able to stimulate hypertrophy. And that's probably best case scenario if I was going to be nitpicky, and that's my own interpretation of the research, my own, right? I'm not going to tell you you're wrong. If you can do that, you're probably growing more muscle in the off season. I'm pretty sure about that. But that's me as a researcher. That's me as a scientist. And if my client hates that, he's like, I got to do 2 reps in the tank. I got 10 sets of arms today. 3 days later, I have 10 sets of arms. I just want to lift heavy shit, man. If I can't be a coach, and that's the problem with most researchers, is they're either socially awkward in a lab doing that shit.
Just like doctors.
Yeah. So, you know what
doctors
I mean?
that are very amazing doctors, but they have shitty bedside manner.
So you've bridged the gap, right? You're a fucking nerd. And you're not scared to say that. Yeah. And you're a damn good coach.
I appreciate it.
And you've noticed those trends in your clients. Like you said, I did this with Phil and Jay, and I did this with Hany. And I guarantee you their volumes looked very different.
Very. And
the cat was enjoyment. If it wasn't for enjoyment and the cat was the cat,
you got to
they'd probably look the same.
Who can have an adherence rate, right? Yeah, so if you want to get them to adhere to the program, they got to fill their bucket list, right? So Hany is a weight guy. He's the closest thing I've ever coached to Ronnie Coleman in terms of like somebody who wants to just crazily train heavy, be able to do walking lunges with 2 or 3 plates, and
you told me in conversation, would I like to get that down and him not do that? Yeah,
100%.
Would he like the program? No.
So it's like, and then when he comes, he slows down. And then when he comes into the gym, it slows down. But I still like just completely blows my mind that he still likes to go back to some of those lifts that he does.
Thank God for injury resilience, right?
Yeah, exactly. So again, when you have someone like that, you're trying to reprogram them, and remapping and reprogramming is very, very difficult. And you can't go from Apple to Android, but you can try to do many things within the 100%. Apple or Android environment. Yep. And that's the thing. So if you turn around and you're not going to turn a diesel truck into, an 80 E85 or a 93 octane mapping system, and you sit there and you scratch your head and you're like, dude, this is what gets him going. Right. Exactly. He needs to feel like he's lifting enough weight. He needs to do enough volume. But I remember, again, speaking about Hany, 2 hours twice a day was the workout. Yeah. He had to do that. He went to open after we cut it to 1 workout a day because just the pure volume, he just body was just so broken down.
Yeah,
then he started to grow.
Because he was going to failure so often. Had he not done that, maybe it would have been fine and he would have grown even more. But he wouldn't have enjoyed it, so maybe he wouldn't have grown even more.
Yeah, but he
That's the
eventually
coaching.
saw that, and then what happened? He started to grow because now he's spending less time in the gym and more time growing.
100%.
You know, but I go, dude, you're sitting there just completely annihilating, and you're not doing anything to be able to help yourself.
Exactly.
And taking the time off. Even right now, still taking the time off is very hard for him.
Yeah.
Right. So he wants to go 6 days a week, 7 days a week. He wants to go, and it's like, no, you got to back it off. But it's a negotiation, hostage negotiation.
Yeah,
Roddy,
with a lot of clients,
you know?
it is, man.
Yeah.
Some clients are like, just tell me what the hell to do. And that's when I lean into my like, well, here's how I would do it.
Right.
Because I think it probably provides the most growth. And even then, maybe they're like, this exercise sucks, man.
Right.
And if I change a heavy compound to an isolation, I have room to play in other places. And as a coach, you got to know that kind of stuff.
Right.
Like, okay, well, we knocked down 3 sets of squats. That gets rid of so much fatigue because now you're just doing 4 sets of leg extensions. Well, now we could probably do a set of leg press at the end there too if you want to try that.
Yep.
And you just got to understand those things as a coach.
Yep.
Like you can't just be so absolute on social media. It's just I hate it, man.
Yeah, but are
I
they
really,
even coaches, or are they just
No, some of these kids are
rage
just selling programs.
Yeah,
Most of them are selling programs.
selling programs?
Yeah, it's crazy to me.
That's crazy.
Get my program. You can strap yourself into a machine and wear a ball gag and fucking like whatever they're doing.
And a D handle, a little D handle.
And I can talk about that too, man. That's another rant. Like
Let's talk about the D handles.
I'll talk about the reason people are using these things, these implements, is because it's based on a bunch of a mechanism, by the way, an EMG, surface EMG,
Okay.
which most intelligent researchers tend to not use anymore.
Okay.
Surface EMG is a measure.
How old are some of these studies you're talking about right now? Because it's interesting to me to figure out that what is this like old stuff.
There's been meta-analysis. There's been meta-analyses as early as 2019, and what a meta-analysis is a forest plot with all the studies on this specific topic.
Okay.
On one side is this outcome. On the other side is this outcome.
Yep.
It shows every study that leads to this one, and then there's probably not so many on this side, and you see, oh, okay, so there's
The trending of the study.
yeah, so there's 20 studies that say, and they're longitudinal, and they're potentially within subject design, which means if I do something on this leg and then something on this leg, we're trying to see what the outcome difference is.
Right.
And you can see all that on the forest plots. It's amazing. That's why meta-analyses are so cool.
Right.
And it rules out any argument against basically the stronger case.
Okay.
But as early as 2019, so
the D handles. Going into the D handles. So
there are people with private labs who use surface EMG to come to a conclusion on purpose. I hope they're not malicious or like doing it to like misguide people, but they're using surface EMG, which measures neural activity. And there are so many arguments against surface EMG that it blows my mind that people do this because there's noise from other muscles that can get in the way. And surface EMG, so I'll explain since, do you know what it is?
no, that's why I wanted you to explain to me.
Pads you put on a muscle and then it's connected to a machine and it measures kind of what they think is
Firing. Muscle firing.
It's firing,
Yeah.
but from the nervous system.
Gotcha.
It's not even from the muscle.
Gotcha.
It's what's being innervated.
Okay.
And when you have really deep pinnated muscles, you hardly can even get signal from them, but you can get signal from surrounding musculature.
Okay.
But they're using it to...
So what are they doing? I want to know about this
using-
D handle.
Yeah, they're using it to correlate strong neural activity to mechanical tension. And
Okay.
mechanical tension is the primary driver for hypertrophy.
Right.
It's not measuring that. It's measuring neural activity.
So is the data that they're getting and is basically that they're getting better connectivity through using a D handle?
Yes. So there's tons of issues. Another issue is that I could do this, okay, with my bicep and squeeze the fuck out of it.
Yeah.
And the EMG is going to read a bunch of activity going on, right?
Right.
And then I can just relax my bicep and do this. And you push as hard as you can on my bicep for my eccentric.
Yeah.
And this will have more measurement than this.
Then
But
the
what do
actual
you
tension.
think would actually cause your
tension.
growth?
100%.
Me squeezing my fucking arm like this?
No.
Or this?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
All about tension.
you can't measure the passive forces or the eccentrics on most surface EMGs.
Okay.
And you're missing a huge portion because all the longitudinal data suggest that deep stretch and using that to your benefit for muscle growth is very important. So when you're using, that's why you see kids with the D handles, dude, they're literally doing just concentrics now and dropping eccentrics because they think that this mechanistic data is more important than what it actually means to have mechanical tension because it's the passive and active forces.
That just blows my mind.
They're just regurgitating. I'm a scientist. I know these things.
Yeah.
And I don't understand why they're so fucking confident, man. Because I don't even talk like this on my stuff. I don't go this in depth because I hate talking over people's heads, man.
Yeah.
It's called, and this is a funny word people can now use, sesquispedalian. It's a big, fancy, mumble-jumble word on purpose because it literally just means using big words to get around an argument.
Yeah. Happens all
But
the
that's
time.
why they named the word what it is. Like, what? How do you say that?
Yeah.
Like, what is that? Like, what's that cat back in the day? What's his name? Sylvester. You know how he talked? I thought, that was the bird, Tweety.
Yeah.
I thought I thought Tweety cat, you know?
The biggest thing is the fact that I think that it's what you nailed it when you said rage bait. They're taking bits and pieces to be able to do it, and they're never going to do it with somebody who doesn't have a big following, right? Because
They specifically do it to people who have big followings.
right, because of the trending.
Yes.
Right? It's the trending.
Yeah.
Because they know that the big followings, you're going to, even if they have supporters on the other side for the person that they're trying to rage bait on, they'll jump in.
Honey, this podcast is going to get rage bait.
Yeah. Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
Let's go.
100%.
That's
but
good.
Hany, and they're literally going to start it with this. Hany and Jared Feather are so stupid. They said
whatever.
longitudinal data is better. Like, dude, shut the fuck up.
Well, that's why, I've been out of school for a long time, but I would read studies, especially on the supplements, right? And again, the training has been amazing as well, but some of that stuff is kind of like, all right, let's try this.
Yes.
But it's a lot of trial and error when it comes to all of the science data for supplements. Again, I did deep dive on ashwagandha with KSM-66, and that's why I've been such a huge advocate of KSM-66 ashwagandha, just because of understanding the different forms of ashwagandha, where it is, and all that.
So what is give me one form of ashwagandha.
So ashwagandha is usually, in general, considered from the ashwagandha plant, but KSM only uses the root portion of the plant.
And is that supposed to activate something?
It's because it's less likely, or basically, because of the nightshade, it doesn't have the poisons and toxins that the leaf and the stems can contain. So KSM only uses that, and that's why 6 years ago when I started using it for testosterone purposes and the lowering of the cortisol purposes in Evo Boost 6 years ago was because of the fact that they were using that portion of the plant.
Here's the reason I asked that.
Right.
In vitro, ashwagandha probably helps with what they say, right? And you put it in the supplement, or you do a longitudinal study on it.
Yep.
And the mechanism you thought about from what ashwagandha is supposed to do is now solidified because you did longitudinal data on it.
Yep.
But there are way more supplements that are supposed to cause an outcome that have zero studies that confirm the outcome because it doesn't work that way in humans. So it's like saying, I'm going to use all this shit because I think this one mechanism is going to lead to a positive outcome. We perform the longitudinal studies and it does dick.
Right.
But then this camp is saying only mechanisms matter. This is stupid. I don't care if it said that it didn't work in humans because the mechanism's there.
Right.
Humans are so complex. Half the mechanisms you hear about don't work in humans. Right. Creatine's the most studied supplement of all time, and somebody first had a reason to believe that ATP would break off and it would help with everything that's going on in muscle contraction. And then they did tons of studies, and they still do studies, and they're finding out it's cognitively beneficial too, even in kids. Yep. And we're still studying creatine because of all the mechanisms we're finding that might happen. And we've ruled out some mechanisms too. Like there was one thing back in the day where it was making people go bald or something. It would help you bald.
Yeah.
And we found out that was bullshit.
Yeah.
Because we did longitudinal studies on long-term creatine use, and nobody lost their fucking hair. No. Like, is the mechanism potentially there from the use? Sure. But we have to study it.
100%.
And they're ruling it out, man. And I'm like, you've never taken an actual course on how science works.
Well,
because we have to do that.
Yes, because that's why when you have a science degree, the thing that you learned the most, and I think we've talked about this before, but it's learning how to read studies. That's literally the number
That's a whole
one
course.
thing. That's literally.
I took 3 courses on that because I had my master's degrees and my
it's
undergrad.
learning how to do that, right? Everything from single blind, double blind, There's so many different ways of doing it. But then you understanding that not all information is good information. It's a lot of garbage in, garbage out when it comes to studies, who it's performed by, and then that's when you have to test it, right? And you go, okay, wait a minute. There's a bunch of studies. I remember there was a supplement that someone had sent to me about 10, 12 years ago, maybe 15 years ago. Yeah, it was probably 15 years ago because it was a couple of years after I started eVision. And they were like, hey, this is going to do this, and we have all the studies to prove it. And I was like, okay, great. Let me go ahead and give this a try. Tried it, didn't feel it, gave it to about a dozen athletes. And it said it was going to make you feel like this. And it was one of those things where I'm like, how do you feel? And everyone's like, I don't know if I'm getting anything from this.
And you know what's cool about that?
Yeah.
Placebo's so fucking strong.
It is.
And if Hany Rambod told me this is going to increase your muscle mass and you gave me a fucking pill of dirt, I would probably think, dude, I grew muscle with that shit.
Ever. Yeah.
So the fact that people said...
Trend dirt.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. So the fact that everybody was saying like,
yeah.
Like, oh, okay, probably doesn't work.
Yeah. And it was some crazy, it was a crazy dollar amount compared to some other derivatives of it. And I don't want to go out here and trash it, so I won't really bring it up exactly what it is. But it's no. You see creatine HCl? Yeah. No, it wasn't creatine HCl. It was, but it was one of the things that I was like, I just don't see where you can justify the price difference, right? So I ended up just making a hard pass on it, and then basically it just went away. And normally things that work, right? Even if it's a small percentage of people that might be able to benefit from it, if it works, it's going to actually still be around. And I feel like obviously the king of supplements is creatine monohydrate. But when you turn around and you start to realize kind of even like one of the big things was talking about protein and breaking up proteins and saying, okay, the differences between, whey protein isolate mixed with, whether it's a veggie protein versus collagen now, right? That's the other thing. Yeah. Collagen is being touted as protein, and collagen is collagen. Exactly. Right? But it's, you can turn around and it still says protein, but it's an incomplete protein, number one. And number two, it's very, very low on leucine levels. Yep. And leucine is the king of all amino acids to be able to trigger mTOR. So when you are looking at that, you need 2 to 2.5 grams minimum to be able to trigger that anabolic response.
Collagen protein doesn't even help with collagen production.
Well, I believe that it helps with certain things. I'm going to be on that.
Maybe.
Type 1s and type 3s. But again, but I do think that it is something where you have so many people utilizing it, and was it the hydrating effects of it? Is it this and that? I mean, again, I make a collagen that has vitamin D with Aquamin hydration, which is a Icelandic coral, and we utilize it. But I don't use collagen to build muscle. Right? It's one of those things where, again, could it be that a lot of people believe that it really helps because of the fact that it's really the hydrating effects possibly, and you're getting a similar effect of, hey, I'm getting less wrinkles. Yeah. Well, guess what? If you're hydrated, you're going to get less wrinkles as well. But ultimately, what I want to be able to stipulate here is the fact that when you're looking at protein, you're looking at leucine, right? When you're turning around and doing that. Now, we went same thing with studies with BCAAs. BCAAs, leucine's the anabolic driver. There's isoleucine and valine. But when you're turning around and you're putting in essential amino acids, now you're getting even better studies that get better outcome of EAAs being more superior than BCAAs, right? So now EAAs are much more in use.
Yeah, and mechanistically, most of the EAAs and BCAAs cannot supply anabolic drive, cannot supply protein synthesis. However, there's 2 aspects of that. There's the fractional synthetic rate for muscle protein, and there's a fractional breakdown rate. And what we do see with those things is that it can mute fractional breakdown. So if you're doing fasted cardio and you don't want to eat food yet, but you have some BCAAs, you can mute the fractional breakdown rate, and you're not catabolizing muscle.
Can we explain fractional breakdown rate so that the layman understand? So what that means is that you're going to burn off less muscle.
Yes, exactly.
So let me just go down to layman's term.
So it's like if you have the synthetic rate of muscle building and a breakdown rate of muscle, you can mute the breakdown rate, and you can even if it doesn't help with the synthesis of new proteins, it's 100% muting that, and we see that in studies. And that's awesome if you have fasted cardio and a nice fucking fruity drink in your hand. I'd rather be sipping on that than nothing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And now I know when I go and I eat my meal after my fasted cardio, I didn't have to worry about burning off muscle when I was doing the fasted cardio. I just burned fat. Yeah. So it's a, in the past.
But it is hard to say how much muscle you're sparing, but
Yes,
you just knowing that any muscle you're
100%.
sparing is good.
And
So
in the
I want
past,
to put that disclaimer out there too.
And it's true, man. And in the past, I'd be like, why would I waste my fucking money on that?
Right.
And then, you dive more into it and you get more research behind it. I'm like, oh shit, that's why.
Yeah.
Like, you got to know those. You have to know those two things though.
Right.
Because in the past I'd be like, this just doesn't work at all.
Yeah.
And then you learn more and you're like, oh shit, that makes sense.
That makes sense.
But the kids, unfortunately, they don't know anything and they're very confident with Pete Dunning-Kruger, and it blows my mind. But to the D handles, I think the biggest issue there is the mechanical tension debate and using EMG studies to say there's a high degree of mechanical tension when you can't measure the passive forces, you can't measure what's actually going on, and you can't measure what mechanical tension actually is. And when they say mechanical tension, again, they misconstrue it. They think it's like load on the bar or something. Mechanical tension also has a time scale component. So, time under tension. Bodybuilders have been saying that shit forever, man. And like even a scientist.
Yeah, I saw some rage bait on that too.
Yeah, even as scientists, we try to stay away from the term time under tension because we want to make it known that it's like, well, there's this mechanical tension that's occurring at passive and active forces, and you do want to spend more time in them because it might lead to more satellite cell proliferation and nuclei to the tissue, which is like muscle memory. So it leads to more muscle memory later on because you have more nuclei in your muscle tissue to help support that. And there's so many like mechanisms that are possible that just saying mechanical tension is the only thing that matters, and then grabbing a fucking D handle and strapping yourself on a machine and then probably wearing a ball gag soon and just going, what are you doing, kid? There's like 30 mechanisms that could be going on there, and you're so latched onto this one thing, and you're misconstruing it with load on the bar. Dude. What the fuck are we doing, man? Like kills me.
It's crazy. I saw some of that, and I was dying. The guy had a D handle on, and he had a D handle, but it wasn't attached. Right? It was just, he was holding it. Yeah. That's it. And then he had a strap to his elbow, and he's doing like a pull down with a D handle.
Keenan flap shit?
Yeah, I guess.
Oh, wait, that's different. That's where they like tie it here and here, and then they go.
Yeah, but he had a D handle in his hand.
Fuck, I don't know.
Exactly. I don't know.
Because heavy compounds are king.
Yeah,
and
I don't know.
If you can teach people good technique.
A D handle that was not attached.
Right.
Right?
Oh, right. It's for. Oh my God. I know why they're doing that. There's studies that if you grip something when you're performing an exercise, it might lead to more force production.
Okay.
Again, they're misconstruing that because passive forces with a controlled eccentric in a disadvantageous position, like yesterday, when I told you shoulder back and you felt your fucking bicep ripping apart, how hard is it to get out of that position? It is so hard to get out of a biomechanically disadvantageous position. But the forces there are so high. The mechanical tension that's being detected there in your muscle, not on an EMG because they can't measure this, are insanely high. And that's what leads to muscle growth. But they're misconstruing that with, well, if I squeeze this, I can produce more force this way. And then they completely negate the eccentric. Fucking squeeze. And it's a complete pendulum because I had to debate people on length and partials only, and now I'm debating people on just doing one concentric per movement, 2 sets, going to the next, applying every variation they can think of, completely negating any sort of novelty they can use in the future. And it's insane to me. And it's hard to be a scientist in this industry because the best scientists are using the least absolute terminology. When I say something to you, I say, it could be that. I could see how that's the case. It might be such that we do this and this occurs. And because we don't actually understand hypertrophy 100% or what the mechanisms truly are, we have great guesses, we have great hypotheses, we have great studies on certain things. When you hear somebody talk with uncertainty and you're a kid and you hear an absolute statement that like this is definitely how it works, where are you going to lean to?
Yeah, absolutely.
So the best scientists in the world and the best coaches in the world, they're saying things that aren't absolute.
We don't know.
We don't know, man.
There's so much stuff
we get shit for saying that.
Yeah.
We get shit for saying we don't know.
We don't know the mechanisms
which is
of
crazy.
action. We don't know this, but there's so many things.
That's science, man. We don't.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with being wrong. We don't know, man. Like we have very good guesses. Our job is to climb a ladder, leave whatever was studied before us here, and then say, okay, from this study we found this, and now we're closer to the truth. Let me grab your hand and pull you up with me. Yeah. And then you're like, oh, because of this, I thought of this thing, and then you pull me up with you, and we're trying to find the truth. That's what science is. We want the truth. None of us have it, dude.
Right.
We can get closer and closer and closer
Absolutely.
and closer, and we're supposed to help each other get there.
Yeah.
Not make these absolute statements and then shit all over people who are saying things with uncertainty, but are much closer to the truth than you saying your absolute bullshit that you're parroting.
Right.
And it's become this weird dichotomy where now I've been in every camp, I guess. I've been in the stretch cult camp. For some reason, I've been in like the insanely high volume camp. And then somebody told me, well, because Nick Walker's training, you're in the low volume camp. And I'm like, bro, I'm not in a camp. What are you talking about? Right. I'm a coach who's applying certain things to certain athletes
100%.
in a specific way.
Yeah.
And enjoyment's kind of a big part of that.
Right.
And you are the one placing people into different cults and camps because why? You want like very polarizing content.
That's it. But it is. But
I'm a creator.
Look, there's no way around that. That Pandora's box has been opened. The bottom line is for them to catch some kind of trend, jump on it, right? Like when you go on Instagram, it says music that's trending. They want to find the music that's trending, right? And then they want to be able to utilize
even
that.
if it's much worse than the rap in the 90s.
It doesn't even.
Yes.
It's horrible. And I'm sitting here scratching my head going, okay, where did this come from? Because again, you know, I've seen some of it.
Yeah.
You know, Mike used it on me once.
What?
Mike.
What was it?
It was when I was touching Chris's chest when I was doing
his little
that?
critique.
Yeah.
He's like, I wouldn't touch people. But, you know, in the same breath as that, I would say Mike was being polarizing, right? Yeah. He was saying something that maybe if I sat and had a conversation or you did, and you said, well, what about proprioceptive feedback? And Chris has a hard time feeling his chest. Mike would be like, yeah, for sure. Okay. He would agree with you.
Right.
But he made a polarizing comment on a video
because he was jealous I was touching him.
That's probably what
That's
it was.
probably what
he only
he wants to rub on. He wants to rub up on C-Bomb.
He only gets to touch me. I'm not nearly as sexy as Chris.
That was his critique. And you love the Panada equipment.
Yeah.
So
but if you sat and had a conversation, and that's the issue, is we create these short clips, and a lot of it becomes polarizing.
Yep.
And even in that moment, if Mike meant that. And you said, well, what about proprioceptive feedback and somebody feeling their muscle a little better? He'd probably be like, oh, shit, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
But he's okay with saying that. That was a stupid statement to make.
Yeah.
That's what science is.
Yeah.
And these people aren't doing that.
And there's tactful ways of doing it. And I think that Mike was being very tactful about it. He was just kind of putting it up there because I think he needed something to kind of make it funny because he's always making it entertaining, right?
But me and him also always talk about that. I'm like, if you can't feel your muscle, I don't care.
Right.
You can't do this and not train your chest. It's not a fucking thing.
Right.
And we don't touch each other when we train.
Right.
And we hardly go past failure.
Yeah.
But that's just shit we do.
Right.
I'm not telling you not to because if you don't enjoy the way we train, why the fuck are you trying to train like us?
Right.
Unless you want like what we think are optimal results and you're just you don't give a shit about enjoyment. Like, okay, that's fine. But if Chris is like, yo, I can't feel my chest on this concentric and I like the concentric squeeze.
Yep.
Can you touch my chest on the concentric? I'm not going to fucking say no.
Right.
Like, yeah, man, cool. If it helps you do your proprioceptive feedback, right here.
Yeah.
Feel
and
this,
I'm a person who is like, you know, like leg extension, right? Is a great one. Because number one, I want their hips back.
Yeah.
Because if I bring their hips back and do not allow them to, it's just like when we did curls yesterday, when we talked about range of motion, right? When somebody is doing cheater curls and they're leaning back, it shortens the range of motion. You're shortening your, you know, gains potential, like the potential for you to gain muscle when you're just shortening up that range of motion. So when you're doing the leg extension, same thing. It's about range of motion to get that deep burn, to get that upper thigh to kick in and burn. So again, when I'm touching it, I'm trying to get them to make sure that they're going all the way up, feeling that they're getting that maximum contraction at the very top. So same thing with a press. So hey, it's like if you feel the contraction, but you know that you know, if you test your chest and you're doing a press and you know that sometimes you're coming up with 3/4 reps, but you know that I can feel my chest. And as I'm pushing outward all the way, I can feel my chest basically stick out, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm getting much better flexion and I'm getting more range of motion. And if somebody was your workout partner, now you see a lot of people doing it because they say, saw me doing it. And I feel like I've been kind of doing that for a very long time. But at the end of the day, I'm also trying to be like, oh, wow, here's another cue. you're lifting your ass up on extensions. Let me push you back into the seat so you get deeper range of motion because that's going to equate to better muscle growth.
And that's one. So for that example, TikTok kids, good job. They bring a seatbelt to the gym. They tie it to the fucking leg extension and they just put their ass in that seat. And that's because they understand the biomechanics of that exercise because they listen to a lot of guys who know a lot about biomechanics. But in that same breath, most of that stuff, again, EMG studies. And that is a clear example of where EMG studies have run people the wrong way because it shows high levels of activation, I think the lateralis, on a squat, whereas leg extensions hit it better or it's something like that. So you can have high levels of reading on EMG and it actually be worse for the target muscle that you're seeing the reading in from longitudinal data and muscle biopsies. But yeah, that's an excellent example because hips back, bigger stretch. You're going to get more out of the movement. Oh, again, stretch. It's not a terrible thing, guys. It doesn't cause edema maxing. Like we're good.
Yeah, I love all these triggering points that are like, wow, let me go ahead and create some rage bait and make it
and that's all it is, man. And like straight up, back to the point of volume, relative effort, and load, weight on the bar. These kids are like 16, 17, 18. If you touch a fucking weight, you're going to grow some muscle.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. You're a beginner. So they're going to do this stuff, and they're going to grow a little bit of muscle, and they're going to realize they were wrong, and that's fine. I'm cool with that. They're going to realize they were wrong because they're not going to be able to keep growing muscle.
Right.
And they're going to have to increase their volume, and they're going to probably lean more into the higher rep ranges.
What are they doing? Are they doing like a lot of like
I've seen like
one set?
crazy program, man. I've seen programs with like 2 sets on 7 exercises. It's 1 set of like 2 reps. And it's only the concentric portion because they're worried about fatigue because they think the edema is fatigue and muscle damage doesn't have any correlation to hypertrophy whatsoever, which we, by the way, also cannot say. I'm not willing to like die on that hill, but we can't say it yet. We don't actually know that yet because there's a bunch of downstream mechanisms that might come from muscle damage that could potentially also have some sort of enzymatic process inside of like whether it's a focal adhesion kinase pathway or mTOR pathway, whatever it may be, it might help with the hypertrophy signaling. And we, again, mechanisms, man. We have to apply it.
The data, you can nerd out on it so hard.
And like why? That's why I say with the caveat, here's the fucking volume to relative effort to weight on the bar paradigm, and here's somebody's enjoyment. And if you just get that down, and if these kids are having a fucking good time going on the internet and like doing these programs with 1 rep, I would hate that. Even if that, which it doesn't, I promise. Like I know I shouldn't make absolutes, but that's not causing the most muscle growth. Even if a program of 7 movements, 2 reps, just the concentric was the best thing for muscle growth, I wouldn't do it.
Right.
And I'm the guy who's like, I want to optimize everything.
Yeah.
There's no fucking way I would have fun with that, dude. A 1-arm tricep press down with 190 pounds, just the concentric. Dude, you're not catching me doing that shit.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I can't even, I'm going to try to like just imagine that in the gym next time. I'm going to be like, would I ever even think about doing that?
No, you don't.
Just,
Yeah. And like, maybe at some point, like, because Mike's doing these trendy, like I tried the trend workout. I tried this.
Okay.
Maybe if one of those kids blows up enough, we'll like do their workout and we'll just be like, at the end, like, that was it.
That would be fun to try.
Yeah. And dude, I don't want to shit on them too much. Again, they're kids. And like, I did a couple semesters of like adjunct professorship, like where I came and I did some guest lectures for some people in my master's degree. And there's a lot of uncertainty as a kid. Social media has become this thing where like influencer is now a job. I get it. And if it's trendy and it's making you get views, you begin to, because your brain's not fully developed, fully shift your beliefs because you are regurgitating it all the time. You're saying it all the time.
And you have instant gratification.
Yes. And it's that thing with like, if I tell myself that I suck and I hate back training enough, like you said yesterday in the gym, that's what's going to happen.
Right.
I got to shift that shit, man.
Right.
Like I can't say that all the time.
You can't wait to go back and train arms now.
I can't.
Yeah.
I'm excited, man. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm going to have fun arm training. I'm going to keep telling myself that. It's going to be fucking fun.
I'm going to get pumped. I'm going to send pictures to Hany.
That's right.
My arms are 23 inches. Phil's going to wish he had arms like mine.
Yeah.
That's what you're going to do.
But, key takeaway, man, like understand making absolute statements is probably not where you want to head to get information. If you see people making absolute statements or you're doing it yourself, you probably don't know as much about that topic that you think.
Well, let's talk about what you should do, right? So I think that we talked a little bit about what you shouldn't do, okay? I think there's not all information is good information in terms of what you're sharing if you're trying to turn around and use
if you're trying to use it, yeah, it could be good information for you to what's called red team your own thoughts. Because I had to get pissed about this in order for me to be like, I actually understand this stuff. Let me help people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, and then I had to like remember things that I learned years ago. And like, oh, I still know how this works.
How do you think if you had to give advice to a 15, 16, 17-year-old that wants to trend without using rage bait, right? Without going in there and trying to pick apart somebody's whatever to be able to do that. But at the same time, what's the solution for them to be able to try to get trending and being able to still do that?
I have a different viewpoint on this. Have a reason to influence. Do something. Do something that creates the capacity for you to have an influence on an industry. That's why I call myself an educator. I'm 32. I wasn't blowing up on social media at 16. I was in school, dude. I was working for my family. I was, you know what I mean? I was developing a worldview.
But you come from a different era. I'm sorry, but you're old now. To these kids,
Instagram
these kids
was
are
there.
16.
Facebook was there. My
right, but
Facebook,
but these kids want to be famous at 16.
Stop.
16, 17. Well, do they stop? I don't think they have to stop, Jared. I think this
keep
is the
posting
deal. Because you look. I heard about you for the first time about I remember it was like 6 years ago, 6 years ago, and again, the Mohawk helps because I go, oh, him.
Yeah,
because like there's a lot of Jareds out there. I thought they were talking about Jared from Subway.
Mohawk
Jared from Subway.
Oh God,
that's a whole
please no.
But the classic Mohawk,
Similar allegations. I just didn't go to prison for it. I'm just kidding.
That's
just kidding.
That's it. But I do think that, look, man, they need a solution because they want to be on social. Okay,
yeah, keep posting.
Right, but it's keep posting. But it's also, I think it's about giving information to the community and being able to share your journey.
Yeah.
But I think that you can do that without constantly feeling like you have to trade it
Look at Sam Solik.
Yeah.
He just started posting his workouts.
Yeah, it's a great example.
He posted his workouts and he loved it. He fucking loved it, man.
Yeah.
And he talked about it. He's like, there's studies that say this and that. He's got that voice, and
Yeah.
it could be this, could be that. But like, I just fucking love this pump. And he takes his shirt off at the end of the workout. He's like, oh, yeah, I'm going to be huge in 2 years. And people just love it, man.
Yeah.
Like, be a good person.
Yep.
Don't shit on people. Like, these kids that are shitting on people like that, of real people at the top, like putting talking head videos over you, putting talking head videos over Mike, where are they going?
Right.
That's not going to be content in the future, man. Like, that's not going to be, you're not going to be able to do
It's
that.
not sustainable, yeah.
No.
It's just rage bait.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, the only person still doing that was Greg, and I don't know if he's doing it terribly anymore.
I don't see it that much.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing I saw...
And he didn't blow up from that. He's just trending. He's just doing it because it's trending.
Yes.
He blew up
just like when he was with the mic.
He was providing information.
Right, with the mic thing.
Because I watched Greg in college, and he was doing, I have a master's degree.
Yeah.
Here's what I know. And this is how you train
and then
properly.
He pivoted.
And I was like, fuck yeah, this is great. And he had so many views. And then the rate, he started to go down. Other educational platforms came up, and he started to do the rage bait shit.
Yeah.
And it was good for a while, and then you slowly go look at his trend line. If you can go to anybody's trend line. What is that website called? Do you know? Social platform. It's like a social platform. You can view everybody's social media.
Yeah, I'm sure there's more than one out there.
And you look when he stops doing the rage bait stuff, it goes like this.
Yeah.
When he stopped doing the teaching stuff was like this for a while. Like, let's say into 2015, 16, starts to go like this, and he's like, fuck, money, I need money. He sees the rage bait stuff happening here, and he goes, oh, rage bait, let's try it. And he sees a little tick up, and he's like, And he's smart with business, so he continues to do that. But now when you see him posting this rage bait shit, people are just fucking tired of it. Right. His shit's going down like this. So that's when he caught on to the Mike Isertel thing, because we started blowing up, and now he only rage bait Mike for a while, and the shit went like this. He's like, let's keep rage baiting Mike, and then it started to go like this again. So he's just really good at catching trends. And he already had a platform to do that, though. Kids are just shitting on people, and they're rude, man. Like, they're rude to people. You're not going anywhere with that, dude. So if I can give you advice, it's don't be that guy. Like, you don't gotta be a dick.
Yeah.
It's insane to me, because these kids are literally like, You're going to see a talking head video from this podcast, I promise. And it's going to be like, these two are fucking stupid. And they'll say it like that.
Yeah.
They will.
Yeah. I've heard some of that.
Like Hany just selected his clients, and that's why he thinks he's the man.
Yeah.
And Jared, you think he knows anything with that haircut? That's how they talk. I'm like, are those arguments at all? What are we doing, man? It's crazy to me. So like, keep posting. Post your, like, if it's in fitness, for example, because I can't tell you every other area where you can blow up on social media. Like if you like, if you like makeup tutorials, keep posting the fucking makeup tutorials.
Right.
Don't be mean to people.
Yeah.
Keep posting your workouts. Try to keep learning, and each time you learn something new, be like, "Hey, I
don't think they do that
this
though.
new thing."
Look. I'm going to hold you there.
Yeah, go ahead.
So when you sit down and you see girls doing makeup tutorials, I highly doubt. Not to say that it's not happening, but I highly doubt anyone's getting anywhere when they turn around and saying, "Hey, look, this girl, she's got clown makeup, and she doesn't know what she's doing." That's going to last about a hot second.
Yeah, I don't know.
And everyone's going to turn around and excommunicado, right?
Yeah.
They're going to just be like, this person is not serious. You'll never get anywhere with that. Yeah. So how is that any different than what we're doing here?
Yeah, men have egos.
It's just, that's just what it is, you know? Yeah. So ultimately I'm just like, okay, great. This is just, it's one of
Well, that's why you've been relevant for...
Well, because I don't get caught up in the minutia. What I do is get caught up in the results. Right?
Oh, exactly. You do your damn job and you do it well.
Well, I try to do is just win.
Yeah.
Right. Just go in there and win. Just do the best you can to try to bring them in the best. Don't overpromise and underdeliver. Try to just be very frank with the people you're working with, and don't turn around and sell yourself. That's one thing I never did. Yeah. And so what people don't even realize, they don't even realize that everybody that I've worked with in the last 20 years came to me to be able to help them. It wasn't that I was going out of my way 100%. trying to like, establish my wares and say, hey, come over to my camp.
Most
I know
of the
a lot
guys
of coaches
came to you backstage.
What's that?
Most of the guys that I know about that you coach came to you backstage because they tell their own stories. They're like, Hany happened to be there with Jay. I walked up to them. I said this, and Hany was like, let me shit test you a little bit first.
Yeah, give me a call. We'll talk, have a conversation, see how the conversation goes. Can you even have a conversation?
Right. Exactly.
And that's it. And there's been people that have done very, very well in this industry, and I just passed because I didn't think it was going to be a good, it wasn't going to be good chemistry for me. And it was one of those things where I'm just like, you know what? I could have definitely just been able to do some things with those people, but ultimately I wanted low friction, because in the very beginning you eat a lot of shit sandwiches as a trainer, and you guys know this because the people are listening to this that are trainers, and they're like, you're trying to utilize these athletes as a bulletin board for your services, saying, hey man, if this guy comes in shape, I'm going to be able to kind of establish a business and be able to show that I know what I'm doing. Right. So 25, 30 years ago when I was coming up, it was like doing that, getting somebody a pro card was a big deal. Now winning Olympias is a big deal, right? Because there's a lot of pro cards now. So it's a big difference. There's a lot of ways of turning pro nowadays. But the big thing that I think is that when you start looking at it in its entirety, a lot of people are trying to like steal each other's clients. I hear about it, right?
Oh, dude, me too.
And I hear about it. Or they turn around and they try to take credit for other people's work. And again, there's a lot of asshole clients out there too that will turn around and be able to, try to pick their brains of multiple people. I remember that happening too a while back.
Still happens.
Right. And then they'll sit there and then everyone's like, no, I'm coaching them. And he's like, no, I'm coaching them really. And then, it's like, dude, you should have a clear, concise team. And that's who it should be. And if that's who you are, then you know what? You got some character issues.
100%.
And again, I used to see that happening, and I was like, that's why I try to filter the likelihood by the picking and choosing who I worked with, because that cut down the instance of being able to have those types of people that are just constantly just trying to use you. And that's it. So, because those are the same people who are going to turn around and try to shit on you when they don't end up getting to the place they want.
Let that, like, if you're a coach getting a client from another coach, and the first thing out of that client's mouth is, this is what my coach did. I didn't hear from him for this long. He had me doing all this shit. Right. What do you think he's going to do to you whenever 100%. You stop responding for 2 days because you had a fucking issue, you had to go to the hospital? Like, and that's why Aaron, for example, I've seen Aaron have conversations with clients, like he's doing like his WhatsApp video, where a client said some shit, and he's like, look, first and foremost, I don't do that shit. It's like, I don't care what your coach did. I don't know anything about that guy. Or he might even not even like the guy, and he's still like, listen, man, we don't do that. Never come to me with that shit again. I don't want you talking crap about another coach to me. We're going to do what we do. We're going to get results, and that's it. Like maybe he fucked up, maybe he didn't. Maybe you were the issue and you don't even know it. Right. I'm here to do my job. I don't want to hear about your old coach and what you think he did wrong. Like, you show me the plans he gave you, you show me your blood work, and I'll do my job. If he didn't have you get blood work, do I think that's a bad thing? Yes. I'm going to keep that to myself, and I'm not going to shit on the guy.
Right.
I'm going to say, okay, well, I need you to get blood work, and let's see what's going on, and let's just do our job. Like, what do you think they're going to do to you?
Right.
That's the first thing they said to you?
Yeah. Yeah. If they're using you like State Farm, you're an insurance policy.
Yeah. So if you can like teach them some shit while you're trying to onboard them, like, hey, look, man, it's not cool to shit on people like that. Yeah. Even if I don't like the guy.
100%.
Even if I don't like the guy.
100%.
Yeah. So I think Aaron is really good at that. So, pitch to him because we had a good conversation about that recently. That's why it's on my mind. Yeah.
That's it. Well, I think that speaking of Aaron, are you ready to
Q&A?
Q&A time, guys.
I will say this. If you guys are liking this so far, please share the hell out of this. Please, because I feel like this is the type of stuff to see. Like, I can say something and Hany can be like, stop right there. Here's what he means. And Hany's very good at the layman stuff.
Yep.
And again, I try to be as well, which is why I don't normally talk this way. But people need to understand what they're saying wrong and why they're saying it wrong. And I want people to see that. Because I could go on multiple podcasts and have the same rant. But, like, let's just build the truth up. And, like, seriously, if you guys like this, share it, get clips from it, whatever, reshare it on your platforms. Because, like, it's, Hany Rambod, first and foremost. Let's keep building the brand. And
I love you for that, bro. But I'll be honest, like, I don't get to sit down and geek out much on multiple levels. And we always talk about it.
100%.
And even though you promised to come here 3 different times during different events that you came to, that was within the
me and Hany have very hard schedules.
Yes. And he's like, I'm going to be down there, bro. I'm going to be in Austin. I'll drive to you. And then I'm like, okay. I tell everybody here at the office, I'm like, yeah, I give it 25%. that he's
in like 3 years, you'll be able to have like a hologram of me.
Yes.
And you'll be able to have a hologram wherever the hell you want. And so we'll it'll be easier.
No. I think honestly, I'd rather you just come over for a week and we train.
100%. I can't wait. I can't wait for it, man.
Yeah. We'll definitely get that going. But like Jared said, definitely we go ahead and we spend our time doing this. So if you do like it, let us know what you like about it in the comments below, or if you have a difference of opinion, or if you want some clarity, go ahead. I'm going to be in the comments.
Oh, absolutely.
Jared's going to be in the comments.
Absolutely.
He's really good at jumping into the comments section on the YouTube page. And then what we'll do is also just repost you, tag us, and we'll repost it on 100%. Instagram. So if you see a clip that you like, then go ahead
or you
don't.
Yeah.
Or you don't.
I mean, like, there's probably going to be some dickhead comments.
Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah. Those are definitely going to be
but
yours.
Those are
going to be your
do not expect me. Do not. I am as of lately. Do not expect me to be nice. If you're a dick and you come at me, like
you're going to come after him.
I'm going to overtalk, put you in your place, and it's not even going to be polite.
I love it. This is actually good. I get you revved up, and we're going to do a little EVP extreme and get on here. That's it.
Just because we didn't train first. My aggression usually is let out, and then now I'm just like, come on.
Yesterday it was a little different because we trained arms like he trained legs.
Our podcast is like, so what do you think about bodybuilding? I'm like, I think Nick's looking good, and so is Hany.
Yeah, this guy's so good.
My fucking arm shirt.
That's funny. But we definitely are going to go into a Q&A. And for those who are asking, what do I have our ice eject here for? We are launching the new Dubai chocolate. That's right. If you've ever had Dubai chocolate, you got to check it out. Amazing ice eject flavor. We got the new white tops on here, so I'm pretty excited about this little updated look. It's just a little refresh. Nothing major, but just a nice refresh. And we got the Dubai chocolate bar on the front of it because when I went to Dubai a year ago, I got the inspiration. And the best part about it is that it's not like overly, you tried it, the new Dubai chocolate.
So good, man.
Yeah. Yeah, it's next level. It's got that. It's got a really good pistachio taste without it being overwhelming. Yeah. And chocolate isn't overwhelming. It's
usually
like
with these types of flavors, especially from other companies that I've noticed, it's like an aftertaste. Mm-hmm. It's like whatever the flavor is, you get it kind of like you drink it and you're like, okay, it tastes like protein, and then you get like an aftertaste. Right. This was like pistachio in my mouth immediately. I was just like, holy shit! And I love pistachio ice cream, which is why I keep bringing up the Ninja Creamy.
Yep.
Wait.
Yeah, it's next.
Get me home right now.
Next level.
I'll put it in a creamy.
So let's get the Q&As going here. And, and guys, I'm so excited. I'm drinking my protein. I had, 6 ounces of steak, before this, 2 hours ago, I am feeling like I'm getting ready for the Olympics.
Week 6?
I'm getting, yes. Week 6 of the FSC7 transformation has been amazing. It's been a great accountability tool for me because I didn't want to just do what I did with my clients for over 30 years and just push it off and say, okay, this is what you should do. But I wanted to be able to do it too. Just like when we trained yesterday.
100%.
I said, oh, he's like, oh, you're training too? And you weren't even expecting that.
No.
And I was like, absolutely. I'm not going to sit here and let you have all the fun for
It was great, man.
for an hour and a half.
It was a good session.
Yeah, it was awesome. But you're definitely going to want to watch the workout. If you haven't seen it yet, depending on when this airs, check out the workout because that's going to be fire. And
it's funny. Are we doing the last portion as well?
We are going
talking about polarizing.
Speaking
of polarizing.
Yeah, you want to go there first?
We can do it last.
Okay, we'll do that last.
How many questions you want to do before we do the natty or not stuff?
Let's see. We got natty or not coming up, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then we got 14 from Aaron. So we have a. I don't know. We got a few. We'll get through it.
I'm sure some of those will have a little overlap and shit that I ranted about already,
yes.
so we don't even got to touch them.
Okay. One was how to fix the chest gap.
Oh, good Lord.
Yes.
Hany's got great opinions on this stuff. For me, targeting muscles is difficult. Like targeting specific regions of muscles is difficult.
Yep.
Data suggests your shape is your shape. However, we were talking about distal and proximal growth in the gym yesterday, so check out that video. We're seeing that if you do emphasize stretch portions, you can get some more growth at the end ranges of certain muscles.
Yep.
Chest shape's solely genetic. And to be honest, the chest gap, if you get big ass pecs, is kind of cool.
That's it.
You get crazy striations. Like it's really
the key to chest gap, in my opinion, is that you just need to get a bigger chest.
100%.
That's it. And then it'll look freakier because the quote unquote chest gap is just, my best friend Wah, he's shredded, man. He's Asian shredded guy. And we were friends since we were 5 years old. Super.
They always have that.
Yeah,
it's
he's
cool
kind of like the Tristan before he was a
looks
Tristan.
awesome. Yeah.
Right. But he definitely has a chest gap. But when he gets pretty jacked, which for him is just an extra 5 pounds on his frame because he's just always 150 pounds and like 5% body fat. But when he gets a little bit of weight, it just looks crazy.
Yep.
So again, just get your chest bigger. Make sure you're hitting all the angles. Make sure, again, upper chest, very, very important.
Upper chest.
Yep, just focus on that.
Yeah. And if you're a bodybuilder who's asking this and you hit a side chest with a chest gap, it pushes that shit up, balls it, kind of like a peak.
Yeah.
It balls it up so much. Like some of the best side chests have that chest gap.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I don't think you should fix it. No, just get a bigger chest.
Just get a bigger chest.
Your shape is your shape.
That's it. And just make sure you're working on all the angles, right? The different exercises. But that was Q1. All right, here's one that actually from Horacio. He's asking, is cooking with extra virgin olive oil the best option?
If you ask me, any oil, if you have fats in your plan that have the poly and monosaturated at the right amounts, fish oil is probably the best thing possible. Just taking supplementation. Any oil like that is a good fat. So it's a healthy fat. It's fine. Yeah. It's absolutely fine. Cooking with it all the time, if you don't have fats in your plans, is stupid because you don't have the fats to cook in the oil. So vegetable oil is probably the worst, obviously. You know, but olive oil is great.
I think olive oil is great. I think the issue you run into is you have oxidation rates on temperature. And so when you look at flash points versus oxidation rates, they're very, very low. So if you turn your heat up with anything, like olive oil is really really good for salads and cooking on very light temperature, if any. Yeah. And then for my opinion, using the higher, you can go on Google and you'll see a list of oxidation rates for heat. And like the burning flash points or the different oils. So you want to use things that are going to be able to handle higher temperature for certain oils. And that's why when a lot of people are like, hey, you should definitely use some like tallow or those things, because again, they can handle higher temperatures. But so for me, especially extra virgin olive oil, I like to not cook with it or just a super light saute, just so that you don't have it oxidized. Because again, the flash point and the heat point of the oxidation rates are very, very low in terms of the temperatures it can handle.
What do you think the issue is if it does oxidize?
It's hard to say.
That's what I'm saying. So that's my thing.
It's like, what does it do? I don't know.
That's my
it's
thing
really
with
hard
it.
to say.
Does it burn out some nutrients?
Yeah,
maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, does it create carcinogens?
Right, like,
Possible, but it's like, who knows?
Yeah.
I'm sure that there's a lot of different.
And
things
that's why I just say like it's very similar, and maybe using another oil that doesn't do that as much. If you're that worried about it, cool. But I just don't see that there's a detriment to that happening. So, yeah,
that's on the olive oil. Cool. All right. So we got Sibu asking, how many times should I do abs in a week?
This goes for basically any muscle. Frequency, volume, intensity, that relationship. 1 to 3 times a week for most muscles is kind of the frequency we see that is appropriate. That has to be within a well-planned program where you're not overlapping. So like, let's say, well, I want to train my abs with 10 sets the day prior to doing heavy back squats. Good fucking luck.
Yeah.
You're not going to hold the squat on your back, the bar on your back. So to get benefit from muscle growth, it's the same thing. You have to go through the process. You got to there's a protein synthesis window. You got to make sure the damage isn't excessive. Like, it's all the same shit. Abs, calves, forearms, all these small muscles people talk about. It's the same thing. You go through the same processes you go through with any trained muscle, and abs are trained muscle. So I do them 0 times a week.
Were you doing them at all during prep?
When I was in high school, I trained my abs every single day, and they became very overdeveloped. And because of that, I was a kid growing, and I'm obviously building muscle. The simple act of bracing, because we have thing like in sports science, we have what's called maintenance volume, minimum effective volume, maximum recoverable volume, the adaptive volume. My maintenance volume for my abs is now bracing. I can brace on heavy compounds, and I will be okay. I'll always have the abs that I have. They've not decreased in size. They've actually probably gained size over the last 10 years that I haven't touched them. I did them one time, probably 8 or 9 years ago. I did 2 sets of decline sit-ups, 10 reps, and I was sore for a week. And I was like, fuck that. And I just never did them again. But the act of bracing, if you know how to brace properly, stimulates the abdomen region. And if you have developed abs and you don't need to train them as much as people who don't have developed abs.
Just like calves.
It's just like every muscle.
Right.
If I know, dude, straight up, I have some black friends from St. Louis because I grew up in like decently in the hood. They got the biggest biceps ever when I was training with them from just doing pull-ups. And they never trained their biceps. And I was like, dude, fuck you.
Yeah.
I do so much for my biceps. And it's insane. So it's genetic, you know what I mean? If you don't have abs, you got to train your abs. If you don't have calves, you got to train them.
Okay, so on the flip side of that, if he doesn't have abs and you were programming, would you say 2 to 3 times a week?
Absolutely. Yeah, and probably after your leg days, because if you have, like, let's say 2 leg days a week, at the end is great, and then maybe one other day. Yeah. It's
the only difference is that I would always suggest is if you really are trying to work on your abs, do them in the beginning of the workout. And the reason
if they're weak. If they're a weak point, absolutely, you're right.
Because you're never going to be able to get that really good ab workout if you're trashed. If you're trashed post-workout, you're going to do a couple sets and you're going to be like, dude, I can't do this. Right? But if you turn around and have a weak point, which is your midsection, and you really want to get those abs to pop, put in 15, 20 minutes into some abs. And I'm talking about like whether you're doing hanging leg raises, if you're doing like crunches with or without weight, or with ropes, or if you're using a particular type of machine for extra resistance, any of those things in the beginning of the workout. Because again, the one that you're going to do secondarily is always not going to have as good of a workout as your first exercise. So if you start that out right off the bat, or separate it with cardio, like let's say if you're doing fasted cardio and you want to do abs, then you can turn around and do some floor work, and that's a good idea too.
Added frequencies to your program, whatever. Cool. Your calves too. Why not? Throw your traps in there if they're small. You know?
Yeah. So just throw them in.
Because then you have like a quote unquote active rest day. You're like, oh, I did cardio, calves, and abs, and traps, and whatever.
All the
frequency in there.
Clean up.
Yeah.
Cool. Definitely agree on that. Let's see. All right, guys, before we go into the next segment of the podcast, just a reminder for your chance to be able to utilize my workouts, go ahead and download the FST7 app at HanyRambod.com. Again, for just $1, all you have to use is code HanyYT, and you get all the exclusive content, the workouts, and if you didn't get a chance to sign up for the FST7 transformation for your shot at winning $5,000, the next one is coming up. Go ahead and sign up at the app so that you get notified for the next transformation, or simply if you want to be the best version of yourself, to get those workouts that I put together for my athletes that are now available on the app. Check it out, HanyRambod.com. Here's a good one for you from Victory PT. Do bigger pumps, more blood flow, stretching the fascia equate to more muscle growth?
Potentially. See, look, I'm a scientist. Maybe. Most likely. Yeah, most likely. I'm not going to put the stamp on it. So these kids are also trying to rule that out. But again, we do the longitudinal studies. We take the muscle biopsies. We do the scans, and we see more growth. And people who tend to do more volume, 100% are getting bigger pumps. And that volume is leading to more growth. And I don't think we can rule out metabolites just yet. Mm-hmm. And again, there are hundreds of metabolites.
Right.
And hypoxia occurs as well. Mm-hmm. And there's hydrogen ions. Lactate's the most studied metabolite probably. Yep. I'm not willing to throw it out yet. I'm not at all. And I think that because it is such a something that has to come with training, that there's nothing wrong with getting a big pump, right? Even if it was solely the mechanical tension you feel in the muscle, and that's how you grow, with that you get a pump. So I'm not willing to say that it does nothing.
Yeah. And again, people like to speak in absolutes, but there's a clear correlation. It's just a matter of understanding all of the different nuances. Well, the science will work it out down the road. But I do think that there's a cause and effect. You pick up the weight, you put it down, you turn around, you get pumped, you grow into the pump, right? A weaker muscle is a smaller muscle, and a stronger muscle is a bigger muscle. And that tends to correlate to some degree. Again, I'm not talking in absolutes.
Right.
I'm talking about in generalities, but broad strokes, right? Yeah. And that's why when we, start talking about supplementation, increasing blood flow, taking creatine, hyperhydrating with glycerol, right? It's 6 years ago came out with EPAQ, and these things are made to be able to help with making sure that you're hyperhydrating the muscle. So therefore, not are you just increasing blood flow, but you're also trying to keep the pump and the fullness. And that's what you're doing in bodybuilding, right? Yep. So you're trying to say, okay, can I keep that pump longer? Great. And when you hit a really good threshold of workout to recovery, you wake up in the morning and you're brushing your teeth and you're getting a pump. You're like, like my shit's on point, right? And that's why I'm saying, like, all of these things, they can add up. Again, is it going to turn around and are you going to take this or any of these things and you're going to wake up and looking amazing? No, it's not a matter of that. It's a matter of utilizing the 1% tool. Can it make it a 1% difference, every week? Yes. And that 1% of being able to do that will help. And
I'll say this, if you want like a more scientific answer from me as a scientist, and I'll use a mechanistic example so I can show you how that works. There are hypotheses based on mechanisms that might occur downstream that lead to more satellite cell proliferation because of the hypoxic environment that it causes. So if mechanical tension was the sole factor for muscle hypertrophy, and there's studies that are kind of ruling that out too, you wouldn't have that big of a pump, but you would grow all the muscle in the world. But there's a potential mechanism where that hypoxic state, and there's a bunch of pathways that are triggered by different enzymes because you have more blood, lactate, and things in the muscle, and the longer that stays around. So like you signal with the mechanical tension, and then because you keep the pump around longer, it's more time and more preparatory hypertrophy for those nuclei to get into place and actually keep the muscle. So I think if I were to make a hypothesis, it's probably a good thing for muscle growth. And hear the terminology that I'm using, because that's not an absolute statement, but I think with a certain degree of certainty, whatever that is likely, just based on what I know about the metabolism going on with all this stuff. So I think it's likely a good thing, man. And I think we have, how long has bodybuilding been around? 100? We have years of anecdotal evidence to suggest that it does something. Right. So I think I love pump products. I just talked about that in there for some of the products I use. But yeah, I use the glycerol. I use, citrulline and arginine, and I always have, and I fucking love it. Yeah. Even like agmatine sulfate's a good one too.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of really good nitric oxide precursors, and then you turn around and you add in hyperhydrating effects of glycerol.
And even just a little bit of carbohydrate in there.
Yeah.
It's great.
Throw in, some carb. And I think that a lot of those things are now just being better understood, because in the past, obviously when I was competing back in the day, there was very little science behind a lot of these things. It was just protein powder. Pre-workouts didn't really exist, And then I think there was like Ultimate Orange, and that was kind of it. And then until
Cialis.
Yeah, that came way later though. That came way later, because you got to remember it was about Yohimbe, because they would give Yohimbe for erectile dysfunction. Even though it's a stimulant, it also increased blood flow, so they would prescribe 5.4 milligrams of Yohimbe hydrochloride, and that was prescription grade, and that was it before there was any Viagra, and then later Cialis came. But I think that the biggest thing that people have to understand is that you have to just see what works for you, right? And again, cause effect. And is the juice worth the squeeze? If you are really on top of everything and you understand your body, try it. But if you're not getting something out of it, then stop using it. Don't waste your money. But if you are, and you're especially somebody who's really dialed in, like somebody who's a competitive athlete, right? Somebody who competes in some type of like physique type of competition. Those are kind of the race cars that really need the optimal performance. But if you're going to the gym 3 or 4 days a week and you're just like, hey, I'm just going through there, I just want to take something with some caffeine in it and get something out of it, by all means, that and a good whey protein shake, awesome. Exactly. But then if you want to experiment and say, hey, what is the hyperhydrating effects and how do I feel about glycerol, right? And how can those constituents of like a glycerol or some kind of glycerol matrix, how is that going to allow me to get a better pump and keep the pump longer with more muscle fullness? But like I said, I think the key is when you get in the optimal zone as an athlete, or when you're a coach and you're coaching somebody, you can see when they end up getting the proper ratio of just that leanness to muscle fullness, you start to really geek out and going, whoa, this is starting to look nasty. And, I remember when Phil would get in the zone, Hany would get in the zone, even Derek, and I've got some videos I'll show you of CBum that I've never posted. Yeah. And some nasty, like crazy stuff. Like
I mean, most of the stuff clearly increases the matrix around the muscle. Like sarcoplasmic hypertrophy is like probably occurring from a pump. So I like the pump, and I think it probably leads to growth. And seeing somebody with a crazy pump is cool shit. So I want to see that.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah. Good.
It's why we love this shit, man.
Crazy pump, conditioned. Just when you get really hard and just have the super crazy muscle separation, and that is just accentuated with a great pump. But all right, let's go through and see what else we got here, buddy. Aren't you having fun?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I'm ranting out.
All right.
Do me in for a month.
For a month only? All right. So we got, question is, Saeed is asking, how is it to take steroids at the age of 19?
How is it? I assume you're saying like, should I?
Yeah. Let me start off by saying, look, absolutely not. Like, it's just very cut and dry.
Yeah.
This is something where if you decide to take something, you should wait until your mid-20s and then maximize your complete human and genetic potential. Then you're also your brain is much more developed, and you can be able to make a decision that is going to not be so emotional, but more rational at that point of the risk reward. Yeah. But you as an adult can decide that. I mean, that's my take on it. What's your take?
I think I mostly agree. From like a libertarian standpoint, you can serve your country at 18. You can make your own fucking decisions. I don't care.
Yeah.
Would I suggest it? I'm on the same level as you. No, I would not suggest it at 19 years old. I don't know if most people have fully developed a worldview and understand the risk reward, what they look like to begin with. Like they haven't been training for 5 to 10 years. They haven't done any of this shit yet. As an adult, you're an adult. Make your own decisions, sure, but you know, we have 2 guys here who coach people at a pretty high level that say no. Like it's 19 is likely a little too young for my liking. I did a 10-year natural bodybuilding career first. I was 26 when I started.
And, there you go. Because you heard me say, just stop till you're 20. Don't start till you're 25.
Did you say that? Do you say that?
I say it. I say it.
I actually fortunately had Mike in my ear because I was like pretty fucking tired of natural bodybuilding. I was like 21 and I was like, I'm just ready, dude. But then, you know, I told you that story about the injection and me passing out. So I was like, okay, I'm not ready for this shit. I can't do that.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, he's like, why don't you, you know, he was always in my ear about that shit. And that was one of the best things that's ever happened to me. He was like, why don't you like, do a natural pro show? And then I was like, okay, cool. I'll do one first. I did it. He's like, how about you get a natural pro win? And I was like, fuck, okay. Yeah. Waited the next year, got a natural pro win. I was like, what about now? He's like, how about you compete in the natural world championships? I was like, oh, this son of a bitch. I know where this is going. So I ended up not doing the world championships that year, but we had full discussions. I consulted with somebody who's very good in the industry with pharmacology. Shout out to Broderick Chavez, Team Evil GSP. They're very good at teaching, and not a lot of people in our space want to do that online because it does reflect scoring at shows, unfortunately. As a pro bodybuilder, you got to work the politics, and they don't like you talking about that shit. I'm putting that out there, but I don't care. Not a lot of guys are willing to do that. So that's why I respect John so much. Jewett, he has his J3U, and he still competes at a high level, does really well. I respect the hell out of like people like Team Evil GSP, who were like, he had a competitive powerlifting career. He was really good. And they're good at teaching people. So I consulted with him for a year, every week for an hour. So 52 hours, you know, I would bring him back stuff to learn. He'd send me stuff to read, whether that was like the Anabolic Bible or like whatever it was that he had access to. Yeah. And before I ever touched anything, I made sure to really formally educate myself on this stuff.
I think that's really important. That's the key takeaway. And make sure you get enough time under tension, you know,
legit
training, and like I said, max yourself out.
Because like at 19, you might, at 25, you look back at your 19-year-old decisions, you're like, what the fuck was I doing? You might like not even train anymore at 25.
Exactly.
You might be like, well, now I own 3 companies. I'm a hedge fund owner, and I'm 24, and I'm out of business school, and I train twice a week, and I have a beautiful family. Yeah. And good fucking thing you didn't make that decision at college at 19 when your friends were drinking and you were just in the gym all the time. Yeah. Like, good thing you didn't, because you wouldn't have any of that shit. Yeah. If you have exceptional genetics, then you can decide. Yeah, you got to see what they look like. Yeah. You got to maximize it first. Yeah. That's it. Maximize it first. Yeah. Let's see. Next question is, I have, from Pablo, I have a 03 herniated, he's got 3 herniated discs. What exercises and supplements could help me? All right, Pablo. I would just say don't work into ranges of motions that hurt. Yeah. Really understand some fundamentals of biomechanics to where, like, let's say you're on a leg press and you put your feet like this and you're coming down and you feel a ton of kyphosis in the lower back. Most likely is because you're like this and maybe you have long femurs. If you just took your feet and did this, again, targeting specific areas of muscles is very hard, but deeper ranges of motions likely cause a little more hypertrophy. And if you can get into those ranges of motion safely by knowing how anthropometry works with foot positions, hand positions, things like that, you'll get more out of it and you'll be safer. So watch some of our stuff, watch some of Hany stuff and how he teaches his clients. And if you experience pain in the sense of bad pain, stop. Yeah. Stop. That's. And also just there's various degrees of pain and herniations. First thing is, if you're really bad, you have to get it looked at. Yep, you do. Right? Absolutely. If you're really bad, first go see your doctor. Make sure you get a plan together and be able to do things. Because again, simple rehab, physical therapy, okay, rehabilitation on that, figuring out, seeing if there's ways of working around that first before you just decide to go back and try to look at the Ronnie Coleman Road to the Olympia, you know? 100%, dude.
Cost of redemption video that I remember. I was there when he typed that, by the way, and inhuman kinds of lifting. And one thing you got to do is you have to take in consideration your level of degree of injury, right? So whether you've injured it or something that just happens to rerun in your family and you've had some kind of degeneration, degenerative disease, exactly. You look at that and you go, shit, man, this runs in my family. My mom had it. This and this is going on. Or, you had a bad car accident when you were younger and whatever. Yeah. You got to be able to really just not do stupid shit
100%.
Because it's going to make you way worse. And as we were talking yesterday, whether you're in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, whatever you are, you have to remember for every decade of life, you've got more miles on your car.
Oh, yeah.
And I always talk about how you got to be careful with what you do. Because if you have a 69 Mustang, Shelby Mustang, and you want to take it to the track, it's different than a 2025 Shelby Mustang
100%.
that you can go over there that's brand new, right? Because if you go out there and beat the shit out of a 69, you're going to be pissing oil everywhere because you're going to end up, the car is not designed to just, exactly. Yeah. So you got to ease into it and be able to say, okay, I'm going to go over there and feel those miles and have a really good time. Yeah. And you get the visceral feel. That's what you got to do when you're a 40, 50, 60-year-old lifter versus when you're 25. 100%. But if you try to go in and try to do what you did when you're 25, when you're 50, right off the rip, chances are you're not going to do it very long because you're going to get hurt. Yep. And then you're no fun. Right? You're going in there, you want to be able to create consistency. And to be able to do that, you got to do it safely. So make sure you don't do something that's going to make it worse because you're going to regret it. Period.
Boom.
That's it. All right. Where do we have this? We have Andre Costa. How would you recommend to go about starting a coaching career? Goal is Mr. Olympia coach. I didn't even make that up.
Wow. Well, first and foremost, you got to accumulate knowledge via whether anecdote or some sort of educational platform to train yourself. Once you have a pretty decent amount of training under your belt, you have friends hop in with you to train with you. If you've done all that, you then coach people for free immediately, family members, friends. You see how the coaching process goes. And from there, if you'd like to do some personal training, get some certificates, whatever you need to do, try that. And then you can do a couple online clients, or maybe you transfer some of those family members to okay, we're going to try this now where we're doing online plus in person. And you got to get a feel for the flow and process that you would like to apply to your clients. And then you can start to really lean into it. But if you don't have anything to give, I'm not going to give you advice on starting a coaching platform.
Right.
You got to have it first. So if you have all that under your belt, hell yeah, start transferring some of the friends and families onto online stuff and see how you like it. You might even like coaching. You might just want a quick buck, which I never suggest that.
Right.
Ever.
No, you got to be passionate about it. If you want to be a really good coach, you got to love what you do and you got to have thick skin. Because if you don't have thick skin, you're not going to be able to deal with the trials and tribulations of people that are hormonal, figuratively and literally.
Yeah.
And you have to understand that you're going to have to deal with a lot of ups and downs because you're dealing with people that are dieting, they're on stimulants, they are on low carbohydrates or on little sleep because of those stimulants. All of these things are a factor of how they're going to be able to treat you.
For sure.
And I had to say it, but a lot of them can be pretty nasty.
Oh, it can happen.
You know what I mean?
It can happen, man.
Yeah. And so it's one of those things when their anxiety levels are up, you got to have thick skin to be able to learn how to deal with that. 100%. So it's a thing. And again, a lot of them, because they've never were coaches, they don't understand how that is because they want to be shown respect because of what they've already done. But that doesn't happen to the coach that's coming up because they don't have that track record to be able to do that when they're starting out. Yep. You don't get that instant respect as you did as an athlete. Right. Athletes get instant respect in high school, then in college, or especially if they become a professional athlete. So they have a sense of kind of just, entitlement. Yeah. So that they're like, no one's going to treat me like that. Or if I'm a professional bodybuilder and I'm coaching somebody, I'm a professional bodybuilder. You can't talk to me like that. I'm going to turn around and do this. Well, guess what? They will talk to somebody else, however the hell they want in that given moment. And you have to have thick enough skin to deal with it. Yeah. Because they're not. It's not all peaches and roses and rainbows. Yeah. I'll tell you that.
Oh yeah.
I'm sure you've dealt with that.
Oh yeah. But that's cool because you learn that through going through the process, kind of the way I laid it out. Like your family, they'll talk to you how they've always talked to you. So like if you have your brother training with you, he's gonna be like, "This is fucking stupid. You're stupid. I'm not doing this." And so you learn the thick skin thing. You know what I mean? But you got to go through the process. So
yeah, for sure. All right, when is he? I'm assuming you getting a broccoli haircut to match other quote science-based guys?
Well, we just talked about what science actually is in the podcast, so hopefully you watch that portion of it.
Yeah. So are you gonna change the hair to go along with your science base?
Speaking of being polarizing, every comment I get about my hair, you buy this fucking thing 6 more months.
That's it. So you're like 20 years into it already with all the comments. That's it.
Yeah.
I
don't even have a mohawk anymore because I want to.
What's that?
I don't even have it anymore because I want it.
I don't think I've ever seen you not have it.
No, I've had this fucking thing since I was like 18.
Yeah, you've had. Have you accidentally just ever shaved it?
I've shaved it. Yeah,
completely off.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not even.
But you came back.
Yeah. And I just put it right back.
Got you. And what's the longest you've ever gone without having your mohawk?
Oh my God, I don't know. Maybe like a few months.
Okay.
Yeah. Because then it's like.
Did it help with the girls or did it hurt? Does it help? Which one? With or without the hair?
I think they like it.
They like it?
Yeah, it's like a little.
Something. Oh, a handle? It's like a little handlebar for you. Come here. That's it.
You know, my tastes for Latinas and Southeast Asians, they're a little aggressive. So.
Yeah. You like them muscular or no?
Yeah. It can be. Not like hyper muscular. I'm not into that.
You don't want anybody that's got a bit
Mike
of front
loves
spread.
that.
Yeah, is Mike's wife big?
She's petite. She's a Filipino doctor.
Gotcha.
But he's always talking about how muscular chicks like do it.
Yeah, but I think she powerlifts, doesn't she?
She does. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I thought I saw someone.
Oh, she got huge legs. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. She got better calves than he does.
Yeah, probably. Filipinos.
Oh,
man.
never a dull moment. You can't get to pass up a chance to rip on Mike.
100%.
That's it. That's it. All right, bodybuilding with Aaron.
Oh boy.
Okay. Oh wow. Okay, let's see.
Probably
which
ranted
one.
on some of these.
It is, coincidence with the guys. Is it coincidence that the guys shitting on modern day bodybuilding are the ones who never won a show, big show?
It's very true. It's an unfortunate thing that I've run into lately with like placings that I've gotten.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't do as well as you would like, or you don't do, like they already have it in their mind, you're going to do bad, and then you don't get first place. It could be anywhere from second to fucking 10th. Mm-hmm. The same guys that I see, this is the archetype. It's dad with I love Jesus Christ in his bio, who talks about love in his bio and has like a mediocre physique. I have been shit on by like 10 of those dudes in the last couple weeks.
Really?
It's insane. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, is this how you teach your child to act? I don't know. It's a weird archetype, man. I'm seeing it so much. I'm like, you're just not happy with your life.
Yeah, of course.
And I try so hard to ignore it. But again, when I talked about like coming at me, you're going to come at me. I'm coming at you 10 times harder. Like, I'm tired of this, like people getting away with shit on social media and stuff. Yeah. And I'm just going to put it how it is.
Can I be honest with you?
Yeah.
I guarantee you, and I don't know if you've already seen this or not yet, but most of the time when you go back at them, they go, hey, I didn't mean it that way.
And I was going to say that. They say, if you, like, I'm just giving you a critique. If you can't handle criticism, like, don't have social media. And I'm like, no, you said Jared Feather's a fucking clown. And I can't wait to see how bad he does at the show.
Right.
That was a critique. That was a criticism. And then you got your boy involved.
Yeah.
Who's like, he's just giving you an honest critique, man. And I'm like, the initial comment was, you're a fucking clown.
Right.
You think that's a criticism? Because I can handle criticism.
Right.
If you said your back is small and you need to bring it up, I would be like, hey, man, I'm a professional bodybuilder. I look at my physique every day. I've already thought about that way more than you have because it keeps me up at night. But thank you for the criticism.
Right.
That would have been the end of the conversation.
Right.
But you're not criticizing me. You're being a dick, and you can't handle that I put you in your place.
Yeah, you do. It's so true.
It's insane. Yeah. But the thing is, as much as I've gotten it, Chris usually has nothing but good things spoken about him. Mm-hmm. But I guarantee you with his following, he has way more fucking people doing that to him than I do. Somebody, no matter how well, how bad you're doing, hates your ass.
Yeah.
And you just got to accept it. The more popular you get on social media, I've seen people say in like the science base, these fucking kids community, like I told you, Hany Rambod doesn't know shit.
Right.
He's dumb.
Yeah.
Like just straight out like that.
Yeah.
And if you were like, hey man, like why do you think I'm like dumb and like I don't really know that much? You're just kind of like a 17-year-old kid, and I don't maybe you don't know as much as you think. You'd be like, whoa man, I was just leaving you a criticism.
Yeah, yeah.
Like no. You were being an insulting asshole, and I called you out, and now you're caught.
Yeah.
So they're very used to getting away with this shit. So I've learned to like, just put it down, put it away.
I also think that
I try to come at it politely usually.
Yeah. The other thing is too, this is my philosophy. If someone is really coming out to be able to come on your social and they're going to turn around and take a giant shit in your living room, they don't deserve to be in your house.
Yeah.
So I would just turn around and be like, okay, then you should either unfollow me or block them or whatever. Because
I
at
restrict.
That point, or restrict,
I
whatever
love
it is, whatever it is, right?
Oh my God.
Again, luckily, again, I tell people if you engage, then people know that you're going to engage. So I think that people are going to be able to, they want to banter because they're bored.
Yep.
Right. So
I'm too busy for that shit.
Exactly.
And that's why I just learned. Do the restrict button. Do you know about this?
No.
If you restrict somebody, they are able to still leave comments and stuff, and nobody sees.
Oh, I think I've seen that. I have seen that.
It's the best thing ever,
right.
dude. Because I'll like unhide their comment just so I can see it. Because you can still view their shit.
Okay.
Nobody else sees it.
Nobody else sees
and they're just yelling into the ether. So now they have to, in their brain, nobody agrees with me. How come nobody's liking my comment?
They can't see the fact
nobody's
that
liking my comment. How come? Because they see their comment like it's posted. And then now they have to roll around in their brain that nobody agrees with anything they're saying because nobody else can see the comment. And even though somebody else might like the comment, sorry, bud.
That's funny.
So now they're like, fuck, man, I'm just being a dick at this point.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
definitely.
I love it.
Oh, my God. Okay. Oh, okay. We got Aaron. We got something else that he wanted to mention. Can you talk a bit on what the data shows around the intra-workout nutrition?
Sure, yeah. Hany, you own the supplement line, man. You want to talk about it a little bit?
No, I want to know what you think.
Yeah,
because again, I'm biased because I own the company, and again, I talked a little bit about.
Yeah.
Again, we touched on a little bit, especially intra-workout.
Yeah.
Right. With
100%.
I feel like it's minimizing. If it's not building, it's minimizing muscle breakdown.
Yeah.
But let's go ahead.
It's also getting the contractors ready for the build.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You don't have that ready. You're postponing the process of muscle growth.
That's right.
So you're getting the contractors ready. You have the available nutrients plus the fast-acting sugars, which I like Gatorade a lot. I like what you put in yours.
Yeah, the carbolin base.
Yeah. Gatorade is just like, I mean, it was developed by sports scientists in the 1980s for the Florida Gators. It's really good, and it's cheap as fuck.
Was it 80s or 60s?
It might have been 69.
Yeah, I think it was like 60s. Yeah.
And it's great.
Jacob, can you look that up? What year was Gatorade developed?
Yeah, it was like 89 or 69. But it fast tracks that process, and it supplies some fast acting sugars for the workout too, so you can maintain longer. You can get more contractions. Yada yada yada. 65.
See, it says in the
Crazy.
60s.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, 80s. I was like, dude, I was in high school in the late 80s.
Yeah, 65. That's crazy. But there's a pyramid of shit you need to pay attention to.
Right.
And consistency encompasses the pyramid. Right. That's the main thing. You have at the bottom, because the bottom is the biggest portion, and we go with whether you are hyper or hypocaloric. Your calories matter the most, and then from there we get into the macronutrients, and that's about 60% of body comp goals and what you're going to look like, or maybe 70%. And then we have nutrient timing. And then after that, we have food composition. So sorry, naturalistic fallacy people, but that's like 5%. And then we have supplementation, which is like a good 2 to 1%. And as long as you get the big things right, and nutrient timing is, for me, especially for pro bodybuilders, it's definitely one of them.
Yep.
You have most of it right. You have 90%. And focusing on really minute shit like supplementation, things like that, until you have this stuff down, kind of blows my mind a little bit.
Yep.
So if you're not having carbohydrates peri-workout, it's just better. Pre, intra, post. Having your carbs there is better for muscle growth. It's very well backed by science. tons of literature on this, and that's why intra-workout drinks exist.
Yep.
And I think they're a phenomenal thing, especially for like, let's say you're an endurance athlete. They're really a phenomenal thing.
For endurance.
And if you have super long workouts.
Yes.
And we are bodybuilders with 1 to 2, sometimes multiple sessions a day.
Right.
Intra workouts are fucking dope, man.
Right.
And I've been using them since I was 20.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we were using
years.
a carb-based with some type of essential amino acid.
Whey protein.
Yep.
I do whey protein.
Yeah.
Because you can supply the fractional synthetic rate instead of just muting the breakdown. And I want to get the readily available proper amino acids that we talked about, leucine, in the system for the recovery process.
Right.
And that's
Have you noticed
essential.
different types of protein? Because again, when you're drinking protein during the
isolate.
workout.
Yeah, you want the least amount of fat possible.
There you go.
So Isoject's amazing.
Yeah.
So I'll make some Isoject, whether it's like the ice cream flavor with like some blue Gatorade. It's really good. I used to do like red Gatorade with the chocolate protein because it tastes like a Tootsie Pop. Yeah, all kinds of fun.
That's why you got all the craziness from that red 40.
That's what it is.
It's from the red 40. How'd you get ADD? It's because of your red
that's
40
why, man.
intake.
I wasn't born with it. It's Maybelline. Intra-workout nutrition is, from a bodybuilding perspective, from a high-level athlete perspective, it is important. If you're Joe Schmo, business owner, 5 kids, wife at home, you want to look good naked, don't worry about that nuance unless you have everything else figured out.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Now, the other thing I'm going to add to that too is some of you that are listening to this are going to really take it for face value and say, I want to do what a pro does. This is where you don't want to do what a pro does because most of you out there are trying to just get in shape. And if you're trying to get in shape, adding in extra carbohydrates when they're not needed is not good for you. Because number one, you're going to have, you don't want the insulin spike. You don't want it. You just want to be able to just kind of keep your blood sugar down and be able to utilize calories. I feel like it's really important that you're just basically trying to get a good workout in and you can't utilize the carbohydrates at an efficient manner when you're not in good shape. I feel like some people that are in, again, that's one of the reasons I don't currently use them. I used to, but I don't currently use peri-workout carbohydrates. Right? I'll have aminos.
Just intra, you mean?
Yes. I'm talking about just intra. And just because I don't feel, my body's very sensitive to carbohydrates. I get a blood sugar spike really, really quickly. Right? And as I'm putting on more muscle back on, that I've lost throughout the years, the decades of me, not being able to, do the workouts like I used to and not eat like I used to. For decades, I haven't done. There were times where I was doing 1 meal a day if I was lucky. Right? Because it's just like, okay, my body just chewed off all of my muscle, and being able to put that back on is going to allow my body to be able to get through like my metabolic syndrome that I created, right? So if you are somebody like myself that's just, training 4 times a week, 3 times a week, 4 times a week, and as I'm trying to build up to 5 times a week and being able to keep myself more and more active, put muscle back on, and you're trying to focus on trying to lean out a bit, I think you got to be careful with the amount of carbohydrate intra-workout. That's the only thing, like, again.
Yeah, I think from the added nutrients perspective, for sure. From a blood insulin perspective, it's likely the opposite, because there are GLUT mechanisms in place, and GLUT4 proliferates to the area when you train with weights, and it actually reduces blood sugar content, and it helps to pull in carbohydrates into tissue. So that's why they tell type 1 diabetes, because it's a completely broken mechanism, GLUT4 still proliferates from weight training, weight resistance stuff. And they say to help keep that in check, if you train, you might be able to have a little bit of carbohydrate because of that process.
Yes.
It reduces the blood sugar spike. But again, the added nutrient thing and just trying to be in shape and look good naked, you probably don't need those in. Because even me, when I'm 2 weeks out and my carbs are at 100 and I get hungry, you think I'm putting that in a fucking intra shake?
No.
I mean, oatmeal, man. That shit's thick.
Yeah, you need something that's going to be of substance. You don't want to sit there.
So it's still peri-workout, but it's just pre and post usually instead of that intra. I'll have like a protein shake during, maybe some Crystal Light, like put some stuff in there. But that's it.
Yeah, you just want the sweetness. Crystal Light. Adding Crystal Light, that's the first I've ever heard somebody adding Crystal Light to protein.
Yeah.
Because you want to be even sweeter.
100%, yeah. Because I'm used to that like taste during my workout, you know what I mean?
That's crazy.
Yeah, so I'll get like the Fruit Punch Crystal Light and I'll put it in some chocolate
What's
protein.
the maximum amount of protein you think a person can absorb?
It's a great question. If you're asking about for muscle protein synthesis, there's a potential top, but it's not what people say. If you're asking about like absorption in general to the body, it doesn't seem like there's a cap. So like the diet you see with like 300 grams of protein and shit, there is a process that occurs called gluconeogenesis, where like you're converting the protein to, like, I call them ghetto carbs.
Yeah.
So you're basically utilizing them as carbohydrates.
Yeah. You're burning it up. You're burning
Yeah.
the
So it's like,
proteins.
yeah, you could do that if you want. You could, instead of that, I just would prefer more carbohydrates. So my protein diets don't generally go above like 250 as a 220-pound male. I do like the 1 to 1.5 deeper in the prep.
No, I'm talking about 1 point, like at one in one sitting, carbohydrate. Protein
No, I mean like
sitting.
sorry, 1.1 to 1.5 grams per pound of body weight protein for the day is something I don't really exceed. But if I were to maul that into 2 meals because I missed all my meals, you're getting all that protein still.
Yes.
You're getting it. You're absorbing it. There's other things than muscle going on in your body that need protein.
Sure.
And people don't realize that. So they think, when they hear it, they think, well, I can only absorb this much protein for protein synthesis. What are you talking about? You can't have 50 grams of protein in this. I'm like, dude, there's other shit going on. And you're going to absorb it, especially if you've been underfed.
Yeah.
Like, yes.
Or if you're on gear.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's the other thing.
And gear's a weird one because I don't know where I fall on this just yet. I've gone back and forth. Protein utilization goes up when you're on gear, which technically means protein can come down. But because also it's more anabolism happening, you might need more. So it might just even itself out a bit, or you might need a little more. So I'm on the fence on that one. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I got to look into it more.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I believe that there is an upper threshold.
Yeah.
That's my personal opinion, just from being able to
In one sitting.
Yes.
What do you think it is?
I think in general, I think like, again, when I design my diets, right? So whether it's like getting ready for a show, off season, when I usually go off of how much muscle tissue and how where they're at, right? Yeah. But where they're at in their prep. So if it's pre-contest versus off season, right? The caloric intake is higher in off season, and then you're a caloric deficit. Then I tend to bring up my protein, right, for my athletes during the caloric deficit.
Oh, okay. So, I thought you meant in pre-contest. Oh, shit.
Yeah. Well, going into the show, like having the protein levels higher because the ratio. Yeah. Because the ratio,
Yeah. Plus in off season, like eating all that protein. Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
I'm not getting that down.
Yeah. Well, because you can make it up with carbs and even if you have a super fast metabolism, super high believer in like really good fats, adding in a lot of good fats. Yeah. But I think that the biggest thing is just now is like where you couldn't do more than 25 grams of protein in one sitting, or 35 or whatever. I think that's been debunked. I think there was a study that showed that was like up to 100 grams of protein.
That's why I say it doesn't seem there's an upper limit.
Yeah.
But there likely is.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
It's
kind of like training volume.
Right.
Like there's the law of diminishing returns. You might need to do 5 sets for a 2% change. But if you're a professional bodybuilder, you're doing the extra 5 sets. You don't give a fuck. Right. And that's why I say with all these TikTok and low volume programs, like most of you aren't that. Most of you who I talk to and who like we're teaching, you're Gen Pop.
Right.
If you want to get the hell in and get out, hell yeah, dude. Low volume training. Do some low volume. Get in there, get a stimulus. You'll have to eventually increase volume a tad.
Yeah.
But if you're trying to look good
There's
naked,
nothing,
yeah.
That's why you should be able to create multiple types of programs. I mean,
100%.
when I was doing my FSC7 training, it was a combination of HIIT with high volume, not quite German volume, high volume, but a combination thereof. And then even in the app, when I'm creating like a progressive overload, right, in the app, what I'm doing is I'm just trying to teach people what progressive overload even is, and then be able to utilize those things, right? Or if you're doing something with like arm training and being able to build arms up, saying, okay, we're going to do arms twice a week. Yeah. Here's a program for you for 6 weeks to be able to do arms twice a week, and then here's the rest of the splits, right? But you're not turning around and speaking in absolutes. You're like, here is a guide. Yep. Here's a guide. Now, it's a simple truth. Chances are you're going to get something from it. Yeah. Right? And,
exactly.
And it's just following anything because most people just need a bit of just hand-holding to be able to get them to be able to give them structure. Yep. And that's what it really turns into is giving them structure and then teaching them just some of the principles to be able to get to the next level and break plateaus. 100%. Right? But I think with the protein thing, it's interesting because, again, protein is such a hot topic right now because of all the GLP-1s. Everybody you're getting like that wasting effect because people aren't eating because it shuts down your appetite so much. And then you turn around and like, okay, doctors are like, drink protein, eat protein, drink protein. They have no appetite. Yeah, exactly. Train with weights so you can be able to actually hold on to muscle or put on some muscle depending on kind of where you're at.
That's crazy to me.
Yeah, but that's the thing. That's why you can't go to any checkout counter without some kind of protein drink somewhere or protein fortified donuts and pretzels and whatever else. Yeah. So it's just interesting.
Benefits me. as a bodybuilder. So
Yeah.
I'm even though it's mostly because of that, like, hell yeah, protein.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we got, let me see. I think there was one more question from Aaron. It's one of those things where I want to give him the ability to, it seems like all successful bodybuilders. Let's see.
These questions aren't like, they're just like things that I've ranted to him about, and he just wants everybody else to hear the rants.
No, I think we actually got most of them. No, we're good.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah. No, we got all of them.
Time for some polarizing shit.
Yes. One last thing we're going to end off the show with is the fact that we are going to talk about natties, fake natties, and everything in between. Mm-hmm. I do feel very, very strongly about this because, again, as a competitive athlete, when I was competing, right, as what I'd call a competitive athlete, because I got on stage and I competed.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I gotta be honest. I think we had like as much as like 14 guys in my class. You know, at the Ironman Naturally down in Culver City at the NPC Ironman Naturally. And one of the things I was very, very keen on was the fact that you get to the point where you're like, I'm natural. It's great, but I do think there are some really shitty fake natties. Yeah. But I also think that the rhetoric of this whole thing about just even. What's your opinion on this whole thing with fake natty? I mean, what's your thoughts on it?
Again, first and foremost, as somebody who thinks control over others' decisions is the dumbest thing in the fucking world, I don't care what you do. As somebody who actually has a moral and ethical landscape, if you lie about it to make gain and profit, you're a piece of shit. Yep. And that's kind of as far as my thoughts extend. Besides people spending way too much time on it. You're never, ever, ever. You could be 40 years old chasing an IFBB Pro card on 2 grams of test, and half of you will never look the way me and Hany did as naturals because you don't have the genetics. Yeah. That is...
You better than me, but yeah, I was okay.
But still...
150
but still,
pounds.
There are guys that are anabolics right now in
right.
gyms across the United States that will never believe that you are natural because they've been taking gear for 25 years. They're still not a pro, and they can't grow for shit because they do everything wrong, and they think they're doing everything right, and they're just on tons of anabolics, and they're not responding to them the way that somebody else would. Right. Genetics are the biggest factor in all this. Yeah. The fucking biggest. Not anabolics, genetics. Right. If your genetics, because so many things go into genetics, people don't talk about it. We talked about injury resilience. We talk about how well you handle the pharmacology, and that comes from a psychological perspective as well. Yep. Like, some of that shit messes you up, man. Yeah. I've seen guys ruin their fucking lives. Yep. How well you grow muscle, how well you respond to different nutrients. Because some people, like, legit just have, like, diabetes. You can't eat carbohydrates for helping with muscle growth. There's a lot that goes into it, man. And constantly comparing your naturals because you're natural and you don't believe this that you can do this. And I'm like, sorry, man, you live in India and you don't have. You should be a software engineer. Yep. As one example.
Oh, hey, guess what though? There are some guys in India that have good genetics, but I know
it's the archetype, right?
I know. You're totally.
No, they're
but
phenomenal Indian bodybuilders.
I'm the one that's going to India, Jared, not you.
I've gone.
So yeah.
Oh yeah, I love it. Yeah. We had like 3 or 4 different speaking. Yes. And I watched high level natural bodybuilding over there. Okay. It was impressive. Yeah. The point in that is like genetics exist. Yeah. And there are certain ethnicities that are hard gainers. Yeah. And my African American friends in St. Louis, if I put any of them on any fucking program, they're gonna be huge. Like there are dudes walking around with delts over there that just do nothing but sell drugs for a living, and you're like, that guy's fucking shredded. What's he do? He's like, nothing, man. I don't do shit. I'm like, why do you look like that? Genetics are real, man. And like, fuck all that not being able to talk about it shit. We're sports scientists. It's just science. It's cool as hell to us. Like, it's like, this is the coolest shit ever to talk about. Yeah. And like, if you realize you are a hard gainer, but you just still love this shit, I'm not telling you to give up. I'm just telling you, you're never going to look like how I did as a natural. You're never going to look like how Hany did as a natural. Yeah. But to call everybody better than your physique, best naturally, somebody who's for sure taking anabolics, dude, shut up. Yeah. Like, we're not all the same person. No. We're not all going to gain the same rates. And
that's like getting a fake ID and being in a teenage class when you're 21. I mean, that is some weak ass shit. Yeah. And that's why it's like, if you have to turn around and claim natty just to try to get more views because you're trying to get into the kiddie pool, so you're the biggest kid in the kiddie pool, then it's...
Dude, I know a fit model pro who turned pro at a natural show on steroids.
Okay.
Fit model, Hany.
Fit model.
What the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you doing? That's pathetic. Those girls were natural, and they're all like these skinny little petite women who know that they're hard gainers, and you took steroids so you could beat them for a fit model pro card. Go to bikini and go to an enhanced show. What are you doing? That kills me, man.
That's insane.
That kind of shit.
Yeah,
it is morally fucked.
It is.
It's morally fucked. And if you're somebody who's going to claim natural, especially compete in natural shows, yeah, you suck. You suck if you're on shit. Yeah, I don't like that stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm not going around and assuming everybody telling me that they're not on shit with a good physique. I'm not assuming they're on shit. Like, why would you lie to me about that?
Because people tend to lie. And the problem is that I'm the same way. Like, I'm...
Sure, they do.
Turn around. I remember with David Butler, I had the same situation where I said, look, man, I need you to make sure you're 100% because I'm putting my reputation on it.
Yeah.
You're not taking anything. I've never taken anything. I never did this. And then the more I got to know the kid, I'm like, no. So I'm like, okay, because they're going to piss test you. They're going to piss test you because 100% they're going to piss test you.
Oh, yeah.
And he's it's not a polygraph. It's not this. It's not that. It's going to be and he's like, okay, no problem. Again, he's 18, 19 years old. No problem. And then I kind of scared him a bit, right? Like, I put him on the podcast and I scared the shit out of him. I said, I will absolutely catch you, dude. And I will tear you up if I find out that you lied. But it was, again, he was a good example. But there's people out there that just, they don't care. They just want to cheat because, cheaters cheat. And it's like, no, man, it's just, if you're going to do it, go do it with the big boys.
100%.
There's no point. It's
100%.
good. No problem.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's a lot of people out there, but it's your choice.
Yeah.
But it's just, it sucks to turn around and be able to do that and feel like you've accomplished something when you're beating a bunch of people that are not.
Yeah.
So
you have that same thing with him, and I had it with Tristan. Nobody believes Tristan's natural. Right. Tristan in person, you look at him, he's 150 pounds, and you're like, oh, okay. Makes sense. He's 5'6". He's literally your metrics on, like, if you were to get on stage right now, same metrics.
Yeah, he's way more shredded than I ever was.
Same metrics, though, right? 150 on stage, 5'6". And once I got to know Tristan, I was like, this kid's not lying because he doesn't know anything I'm saying when I talk about anabolics. Like, it's crazy. But blasting people on social media constantly who somewhat do seem a bit prideful in the natural stuff, and you can tell it kind of gets to them. Like, I don't know why that person would lie to me. Maybe they are, maybe they're not. Wait till they get caught, man. Like, they'll get caught.
Absolutely.
It'll come out.
It's going to make
absolutely. And I'm going to not trust you anymore.
Exactly.
And you ruined a lot of relationships in your life, and that's on
your
you.
Followers.
That's on you, man. Like, I don't know. That sucks for you. I'm not going to go ahead and say, because this person is so passionate about their natural status, there's no way they're natural. Look at that physique, blah, blah, blah. Most of these guys, you see them. I've coached the best natural bodybuilders in the world. I have multiple world champions. I know what it looks like at a high level. And genetics exist, and they are the most important thing. Didn't Kai Green turn pro natural or something?
Yeah, I think he did, and for 100%, Ronnie Coleman did. Ronnie Coleman got on the Olympia stage natural and didn't get a call out, but he ended up getting on that stage. At the time, you'd win the world championship, and then you'd get automatic invite to the Olympia. And he didn't get a call out. They forgot to call him out because he didn't look impressive enough, but he made it to the stage there. And then obviously things changed after that.
That type of shit exists.
Yeah.
Like, it exists. There's the 1% of the 1% of the 1%.
Yeah, those guys that have 20-inch arms before they even walk in the damn gym. 19-inch arms before they walk in the gym. Next thing you know, their arms, grow 2, 3, 4 inches.
Yeah.
No, it's crazy.
Yeah, so for me, the whole natty or not stuff, like, you're never going to see me do, like, videos on that shit. I'm just, dude, I don't care. I don't care. If he's lying, he's a piece of shit. You're going to find out in 5 years, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you so much, Jared. We had all the questions answered. We were absolutely hammered with our workout yesterday. So again, guys, if you haven't seen the workout, you definitely want to go check out the workout we did. Buys and tries together. And again, always a pleasure, brother.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming.
That was a good one, I think.
Yes.
I think he's going to get a lot out of this. So.
You got this was his therapy session,
this was
guys.
Therapy.
His therapy session.
I had to release that. This is my training for the day.
Yeah, absolutely. Hany Rambod, Jared Feather. That's the truth.